we're shooting, and he rents this huge crib. And we basically bring them over. We have a barbecue, but we're like drilling them with questions, and we're just making sure that they're fully equipped. But really, it's just to make them feel comfortable and to accept them, because we know how much pressure it can be. Because we have 9 films, and for someone to just, come along and enter this family, we want them to feel like family. So I say hazing, but we really just make them feel like family, and that's what we've done. So I have a lot of great stories with John Cena, with Cardi B, and just how we've been welcoming them to the franchise and the family.
You talk about family. We just celebrated Father's Day. Extra special for you, I know, because you and your wife expecting another baby. You've got 3 girls. Do you know if I feel your pain, brother, is having 2 girls myself, or your ecstasy, I should say. Are you holding out for a boy? Is it another girl? What's the deal?
There's so many great things that have happened from me being a girl dad. One in particular, I have a Netflix, the animation called Karma's World, that comes out at the end of this fall, and it's literally to enrich and empower young girls. So to answer your question, I will be happy with whatever the Most High wants to give me. We don't know the sex of the child.
Wow.
We're going to wait until the day. It's like one of the only things that's left to just being unpredictable these days, and it's exciting. So I guess I'll let the Today Show know the day that this baby drops.
All right. We'll hold you to that.
We're excited for that. I have to ask you about performing. I remember it was probably like 2001, 2002 when you came to Rutgers College at Livingston campus. I remember it was this free concert that I still remember how much fun it was. And now you're finally back on stage after, a year and a half with this pandemic. What's that moment like for you?
Listen, you guys see the screen. There's no words that can explain. Sometimes you don't know how much you miss something until it's almost gone. It's a complete reset. People are so happy to be back out safely, of course. And these crowds and the energy, you can feel it. It's on a whole other level than, before 2 years ago. Yeah. And I'm just thankful. And I'm very appreciative of the fans. And now you can see everyone's trying to get out and do concerts and tours because we got to make up for lost time.
Right.
I agree.
Well, Ludacris, they can also do that by getting out, going to the theater to go see F9 and you in it with the gang again from Fast and Furious. Ludacris,
congrats.
Absolutely.
It's great to see you.
Well, if you have kids, you probably remember The Boss Baby, a really funny animated movie about a suit-wearing, briefcase-carrying baby.
Well, guess what? He's back with a new sequel. Hoda and I were lucky enough to score an exclusive interview with none other than the Boss Baby himself.
Yeah, and let's say we're still recovering. Take a look.
If you thought your boss had temper tantrums, you ain't seen nothing.
This is war.
In the original Boss Baby film, a young boy's life is turned upside down by the arrival of his new brother, who also happens to be an undercover corporate executive on a secret mission.
You can talk.
Get yourself a little something.
Spoiler alert, the Boss Baby does eventually grow up, but thanks to a secret downsizing formula, he can slip back into those form-flattering diapies when called into action, which he is for the sequel, The Boss Baby Family Business. And the boss took time out of his busy schedule to chat with us about the film.
Hello?
Boss Baby?
He's late.
You know what? I think it's kind of rude.
Well, he is a baby. Maybe he hasn't learned to tell time yet.
Wait a minute, do you hear that?
Cancel my 3 o'clock and move Power Tai Chi to 4:05, but don't touch my play date.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with us.
It's good to be with you, Hoda and Al, but time is money, so let's keep it snappy.
Oh, okay. Well, the Boss Baby Family Business. What can you tell us about it?
Well, there's plenty of laughs, a little heart, and a lot of thrilling action. It's a sequel thing. Bigger stunts, higher stakes. Speaking of stakes, could I offer you a Chateaubriand for 2? Huh?
No thanks. Thank you, though.
Anyway, I hear that you have a new boss in the movie. How's that working out for you?
Well, to be clear, Tina's just a boss, but I'm a bigger boss. I've got at least 2 pounds on her, okay?
I don't know. From what we've seen, seems like she can hold her own.
We're all in it together.
Every man for himself.
One is the loneliest number.
The eyes have it.
We the people.
Yeah, and it must be real difficult to have to answer to somebody who's so talented and so young.
Well, it's not like I'm old.
No. It's just that Tina seems to be making bold changes, like story time, free pacifiers for all, even flexible nap times.
Flexible? I mean, look at this. Can you get a toe in your ear?
But you know what? Tina really does seem...
Power nap! Oh, I've only had 4 today. I don't think people understand how difficult it is interacting with all the droolers out there. Half the people wearing ties in corporate should be wearing bibs.
Come on, baby life is sweet.
Let's face it, you don't even have to wipe.
Oh, please. You couldn't crawl a mile in my Egyptian cotton diapers.
Is that a challenge?
Are we gonna take that from a baby?
Here's a little of my downsizing formula. Take a swig if you think you can handle it. Well, I gotta take off. I've got a board meeting in 15, and if I'm not on time, there's gonna be a lot of whining and crying and ugh. Good luck. Don't say I didn't warn you.
If you think we can handle it.
Bottoms up. You are
Adorable.
so cute.
Al, don't cry. Oh, I forgot about this part of baby.
You guys are adorable.
I got to admit,
That's how it
we
turns
are.
out. Yes,
we
you
really are adorable.
cute.
And I didn't have any hair then. I don't have any hair. Worked out perfectly. That's right. Hey, we want to thank our sister company, Universal Pictures and DreamWorks, for helping us make all that.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today, all day.
Every day. Wherever you are, Today is there. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are. Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today, all day.
Every day. Wherever you are, Today is there.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the iconic movie led by the late, great Gene Wilder as the fantastical chocolatier, it's celebrating 50 years. And in honor of the Golden Ticket's golden anniversary, Entertainment Tonight sat down with members of the cast to share memories from that set. Michael Bollner, who played the gluttonous little boy Augustus Gloop, he revealed exactly how they pulled off this terrifying fall when he fell into the chocolate river. Take a look.
Michael, what do you remember most about that famous scene, falling into the river and the tube?
Augustus! It was very cold. It was stinking water. That they stopped the water at the right time. Otherwise, I would have been drowned.
That's scary.
Yeah, really, it was.
And the star of the film, Peter Osham, who played Charlie, actually went on to become a veterinarian. Willy Wonka was the only film he ever did.
That's a frightening
that's
movie.
the one to do. It's a
Children don't do well in that
when
movie.
they go through the ride. The tunnel with the chicken getting his head cut off. That was still does it for me.
We have each other, and there's never going to be a moment where we don't have each other. Ever since sisters Billie Joe Rose and Bobby Joe Sullivan were born, they were inseparable. After all, they are identical twins.
What is that special connection that you two have that other people might not have?
When we fight, it's like instant forgiveness. Growing up, we always had a playmate. We would always like hold hands like from our little bunk beds when we go to sleep.
But at 7 years old, hospital visits separated the sisters when Billie was diagnosed with leukemia. Bobby was determined to help.
When bone marrow transplant is on the table, Bobby, did you know right away you would be a match?
They asked me if I wanted to be a donor, and I was like, yes, absolutely. When it came down to it, they were like, well, if they're twins, if they're identical, this could be 100%. And lo and behold, it was.
Billie underwent a bone marrow transplant donated by Bobby, and the procedure was successful.
We were 100% identical, right down to like every last cell and everything.
I would get tested like it was every month. And then I think it was like the 15-year mark. They said that I was cured.
Life went on. They both experienced the loss of their brother. They got married, and then 25 years later, Billie's cancer was back. But this time, she was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer.
It was just like shocking, but they said it was very treatable. And then I went through chemotherapy again. And then I opted to do the double mastectomy because I did not want this reoccurring in any way, shape, or form.
And Bobby, how is this all impacting you?
In my head, I'm like, why? Why is this always happening to her? Why can't I take some of this?
After undergoing cancer treatment, Billie wanted to start a family of her own, but struggled with infertility. So she turned to reproductive endocrinologist Dr. Kara Goldman at Northwestern Medicine to discuss her options.
It became very clear that her ovarian function was irreparably damaged by her chemotherapy. And so she would be needing to consider egg donation. And she immediately said, my sister Bobby is in. She has been talking about this with me for years. And it was the plan from there on.
Was there ever a moment of you being nervous to give up an egg?
Not one bit. So then when the doctors did mention, hey, do you want to do this? I was like, all right, yeah.
After consulting their doctor, it was decided through in vitro fertilization, Bobby would donate her eggs while Billie would carry her baby. And when it came time for the embryo transfer, Billie brought her sister to Dr. Goldman's office.
What was that moment like?
There were tears, there was hand-holding, and just a tremendous amount of joy.
As much as I wanted my husband to be there, it wouldn't have been possible without Bobby.
8 days later, tests confirmed Billie was pregnant. This May, Billie received an early Mother's Day surprise. Her daughter, June Jo Rose, was born 4 weeks before her due date.
What were the emotions going through your head? Because this is coming after a whole process to even be able to have and give birth to your own child.
It was just a whole thing of thanking Bobby for being able to do this, to make this all possible. I have a family now, and it was just like the best thing ever.
If anybody's doing the math, this is twice now you've given life.
Yeah. We joke around like when I'm older, like if I need a kidney or something, I'm like, I know who I'm coming to.
Can we meet her?
Yep.
Hi, June. Bobby, seeing Billie holding June, what does it mean to have been able to give this gift to your sister?
To see the smile on her face and the smile on her husband's face, I would do it 100 times over again, without a doubt.
Such a special bond. So to take this even further, after Bobby donated her eggs to Billie, then Bobby ended up getting pregnant with her third child.
Oh.
So then there was a little bit of time there, about 2 months, when they were pregnant at the same time. And you know, for Bobby, it was never a question. Whatever you need, you need, I will do whatever you need.
Sisters.
And yeah, it's just an incredible.
It makes you want to be a better sibling.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
One Republic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Excited for the ultrasound today, get to see the baby and see a heartbeat for the first time, and can't wait for Kelsey to hear that, so yay!
Let's take a look here.
It looks much bigger this time.
It is
bigger.
All right, so let's measure baby here. Measuring 8 weeks, 6 days.
Oh, a couple days ahead.
Yeah, you've got your...
All right, big baby.
And you can see the early arms and legs, so...
Yeah, little
So
buds.
right up there, the little arm buds, there's the little leg buds. Looks like a little gummy there.
I love it.
Megan and Kelsey's pregnancy is progressing perfectly. Usually at this point when we see a heartbeat and we see good growth of the baby, it's almost, very certain that it's going to be a good outcome.
Feeling so relieved and so happy. Baby's measuring actually like 2 days ahead, which is like the best news ever. And the heart rate was great in the 170s. And we're just so excited to be graduating from the fertility clinic.
So we've talked to our kids about it, and we pretty much just had to explain to them that, Kelsey's tummy is broken and she can't carry her babies. So I get to put Kelsey's baby in my tummy and help her just grow it till it's to a point that it can be healthy, that we can give it back to them. I'm surprised at how well they understand that. To them, they're just so innocent and naive that they're like, that's amazing. They don't give it a second thought. Whereas a lot of adults, I feel like they just instantly go to like the moral, like, is that like right? But kids are so awesome with that, where they're just like, good for you, Mom.
We thought a lot about how to talk to our kids about surrogacy, especially Ollie, who's 7. And when we were going through it with Nora, we just felt like there was nothing to hide. He'd witnessed his brother's passing and knew that Mommy's belly was broken and that Mommy couldn't have any more babies. And so we just explained it to him very simply that because of science, we were able to take parts of Mommy and parts of Daddy and make this teeny tiny baby. And believe it or not, Aunt Betsy can grow our baby for us. Even at 5, he thought, oh, okay, no problem. It felt so simple to him. And I think that's the beauty of kids sometimes, is they don't make things complicated. I wish so badly I could carry a baby. And I would go through any physical sacrifice necessary if I knew that the baby was going to be okay and I was going to be okay for my family. But that's just not the case. Hey, we are 21 weeks along. So exciting. I cannot believe we're this far. And we're in Idaho for the Thanksgiving holiday, and also because it is Megan's big anatomy scan. The anatomy scan is an ultrasound halfway through the pregnancy where they measure the baby's brain, other organs like the heart, the kidneys, bone structure, really just making sure everything is growing as it should. Guess what is right here? What's in here? Whose baby is it? We've been keeping it under wraps, but we know the gender of our baby, and it's a girl. We're so excited. It's a baby sister. Oh, no. Give her a hug. Just like everybody, we especially just hope for a healthy baby. But, for me, it's a little more complicated than that. The whole reason my family started pursuing gestational surrogacy was because we lost my son, Leo. And in some ways, I have worried about having children after Leo that are boys and then feeling almost like that may feel like a replacement. And I understand that intellectually that doesn't make sense, but emotionally I've wrestled with those feelings. So in some ways, the fact that it's a girl makes it just feel like a completely different baby and a completely different experience. Do you still have bouts of nausea and stuff?
No, not really.
Do you feel like you're kind of in that sweet spot of pregnancy where your energy is back?
So, yeah.
I definitely feel like I'm in the easier parts of pregnancy. I'm not uncomfortable yet and just kind of enjoying it right now. I feel like the connection with this baby has been very different. I had no idea what to expect. I'd say 99% of the time I don't even think about the fact there's a baby inside of me. It's like I feel these movements, and with my own babies I would instantly be like, oh my goodness, and wanting to like touch my belly and feel every movement. I definitely feel like there's a disconnect there, which I'm grateful for.
Okay guys, this is what we got. We're gonna make a big pile of leaves, and you guys can write on each leaf something you're thankful for.
I feel like with Kelsey living in another state, I try really hard to make her feel included, but I also feel like there's a line where talking about movement or anything, I don't want to make her feel sad that she's not the one that's feeling those things or experiencing those things.
Ta-da! I wish there was an appropriate word for how I feel when I look at Megan. Of course I feel joy and happiness. And I don't want to use the word jealousy because there's no ill feelings whatsoever. But I do wish I was carrying my child. I do wish I was feeling her kick inside me. I do wish when I went to the grocery store, the checker said to me, oh, you're expecting, when are you due? Like those things, I would love to do it. Oh, look at that, guys. Aren't those pretty colors? You guys did a great job. Woohoo! 21 weeks is both really exciting and also somewhat terrifying for us. With all of our pregnancies, it was shortly after 20 weeks that things started to pop up or go downhill. I'm most afraid of the baby dying. And I think that that's just because I've experienced that before. I am afraid of something going wrong and her not making it. That is most certainly my greatest fear. Shoot. Okay.
Knock, knock.
Hello.
Hey, Megan. So we're doing the 20-week ultrasound, 21 week, right?
Yes.
Good. Let's see here. So here's the baby. So you've got the face, and then if I scan off the front of the face, I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the chin and the lips and the nose, at least part of it.
Yeah.
Normal spine all the way up and down. Baby's hands.
Little arms. Yeah.
Little hands.
Got muscles.
She's got some
biceps.
Someone say arms?
This is a view of the heart. We're looking at the 4 chambers. And most heart problems are ruled out when you have this nice view of the heart.
Sure.
Umbilical cord insertion is normal.
That's good. We've not had that before, so we're grateful for that.
Yeah. So all the anatomy is there and normal in this scan. The baby's coming in at the right size and growth-wise.
Excellent.
No suspicions of any problems.
Oh, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Good job, Megan. Good growing. Way to go.
Yes.
Way to grow. Good job, baby.
I think the biggest surprise in this pregnancy, if I had to pick one, would just be that it's gone by so much quicker than my own pregnancies. There's no anticipation of we're preparing for a baby, and so the fact that we're already more than halfway done is just mind-blowing to me.
All right.
Thank
There's
you.
Your kiddo.
There she is. Thank you so much,
You
Dr.
bet.
Lovelace. We really appreciate it. If we could just have the last 4 months look like the first 4 months, that would be great because everything seemed to work so well. I can't imagine that we won't have some sort of hiccup, but I hope that the last half of pregnancy, we can continue to feel this lightness, that this is beautiful and joyous and just filled with so much gratitude rather than anxiety and stress and what happens if ...
I'm so proud of you. You're doing so good. Truly, I can't tell you how many appointments like this I left where I was like, come on, body, just do this, just do this. So you're doing great. That's good. And thank you for supporting her so much. So
She's a rock star.
I know. High five, halfway.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
One Republic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day. Let's change the world. Love it!
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Hi, how are you? Happy shower day. Thank you. Look, everybody's here. It feels surreal to celebrate this baby girl today. It feels special. It feels, I cannot believe it. It's like I gotta pinch myself to realize that we're where we're at. I talk to Megan a handful of times every week. Megan says she's feeling great, easiest pregnancy she's ever had. So she's thriving, and I'm just so grateful. The leading contender is Penelope. I also really like Charlotte. My grandma Charlotte. I almost wish that I had more connection to that physical nature of bringing this baby here right now. But it helps to have such great friends help me celebrate the growth of our family. It just doesn't feel real yet, and I feel guilty that it doesn't feel real. I think having been through what we've been through with the loss of Leo and with Ollie's premature birth, I don't think I will fully relax until she's in my arms.
Breaking tonight, fear and frustration as the coronavirus spreads across the U.S.
Some hospitals, in an effort to promote caution and safety, partners are now being banned from the delivery room.
We may not be allowed even a visitor who is with us as we're giving birth. I mean, people are making all kinds of very challenging decisions.
Okay, a lot of change these past couple of weeks. I have now been in Idaho almost a month. We came right when Megan was starting to have some of those early labor pains, around 37 weeks. And, that was right when the coronavirus stuff was really blowing up and hospitals were rapidly changing their restrictions on who was and wasn't admitted into delivery rooms and even as visitors in the hospital. Megan just hit 41 weeks. And given the fact that Megan's overdue and this is a little atypical for her, so we reached out to her doctor and found out they could get us in tomorrow. And the current restrictions are that Megan can have one support person. And she has been kind enough to let me be that support person. You know, we've been through a lot together, and this, you know, this will be quite the finale to go through birth together, just me and her.
So the day before I delivered, I was feeling very antsy about still being pregnant. I was almost 41 weeks. I'd never gone past my due date with any of my own babies. And mentally, I think I was just at like a breaking point a little bit. Brian was not able to be at the hospital with me because of COVID. I was allowed one support person, so I had to pick between Kelsey and Brian, and obviously Kelsey wanted to see her baby be born, so that was pretty easy to decide.
Okay, just getting to the hospital, very exciting. It is April 11th, and it's gonna be girl power in that room. Me and Megan and a great team of doctors. Everyone thinks she's gonna go really quick, so we're so excited. So here goes nothing. I stepped out because Megan is getting her epidural now. Things are going great, really comfortable. The hospital feels so calm and peaceful. There's very few people here. You know, most people are wearing masks, so we're feeling really good. One more time, come on. Yes, Megan, yes. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's so beautiful. Hi, baby.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Penelope Catherine Egan. She's here. And she's perfect, this sweet baby. Oh, she's perfect.
So when Penny was born, I remember feeling like this overwhelming feeling of just like, I've done it, like a job well done, like this is complete, and just seeing Kelsey's face was absolutely amazing. I can truly say it was no different than like babysitting someone else's kid and then giving him back at the end of the day. Shortly after Penny was born, we had to deal with birth of the placenta, which was something that we were concerned about a little bit, possibly having it be difficult to detach just because of the IVF process. So they did have to go in there and manually remove it, but they were able to get it out pretty quickly, and the nurse just had to come, they push on your tummy every like 10 to 15 minutes just to check your bleeding and make sure your uterus is shrinking down. And after a while, she's like, you're kind of still passing clots every time I push down on your uterus. And I just didn't think much of it. I was like, okay, no big deal. And then after about 30 minutes, she's like, your clots are getting a lot bigger, not smaller. It's just not stopping. I'm gonna have to call the midwife back in and just have her look things over. And I remember by the time she got there, I was definitely feeling a little bit like lightheaded. I just wasn't feeling good.
Okay, worried about Megan. Things seem to be escalating with the bleeding post-birth. Taking good care of her. They've got a lot of different things they can try, but this is definitely something we weren't anticipating or expecting.
They had to put in something called a Bocker balloon, and it's like a balloon inside your uterus that they fill with saline, and it basically just puts pressure on your uterine walls, kind of like a Band-Aid would, to stop the bleeding. And they just leave that in there for about 24 hours. I think they took it out at like noon the next day, and I remember that was such a feeling of relief when they pulled it out. So after we got home from the hospital, Kelsey and Robbie met us here. I hadn't held Penny yet, and Brian had yet to even see her. I got home and they handed her to me, and she's absolutely precious. She's darling. It was just so funny, like holding her. I'm like, do I feel anything? Like I almost was like, I feel like I should feel more holding this baby. And but I didn't, and it was a good thing. Obviously, that's a happy thing. That's what you'd want, to have that detachment. So after the birth, there is one last step that you have to do. Normally I'd have to be in person, but because of COVID, we were doing like a Skype type call with a judge and our attorney. Basically, you just have to answer a ton of questions about the whole process and sign over your rights, because I was initially put on the birth certificate. And basically I'm taking my name off the birth certificate so Kelsey could be put on. It was the most rewarding part. Like, it was just like, officially I'm handing over this child finally that they've worked so hard to get. They've gone through so much, and I officially can turn this baby over to them. It's theirs and I'm removed from it. Emotionally, I'd say it's been pretty similar to all my other postpartum journeys. I have days where I just feel overly emotional for no reason, but I'd say it's getting better, and it's just kind of part of the process.
We doing anything? Good job.
My plan this whole surrogacy journey was to hopefully have another surrogacy journey and do it again. Because of what happened after delivery, I'm not sure that it would be wise for me to put myself through that again. I have my own family that I really want to make sure is my top priority, so right now I don't think that I would do it again.
Okay, ready? I got your hands set. Go. Woo! Good job.
I don't think I have any regrets. It's truly been so amazing to go through. There's no way to know what you're getting into going into it. And I just feel really lucky to have had the family that I had to work with, and all the people that helped us in our journey.
Have you guys washed your hands?
Yes, we are.
Wash your hands. When we talk about stories we'll tell her, there's incredible women that were in the delivery room actually bringing her into the world, and also incredible women that have been a part of her story before she was ever born, that she can kind of stand on their shoulders and continue this tradition of being a strong woman.
Are you excited to hold her? Yes.
I have waited for this day to get to this point and think, the gang's all here. Our family's complete. We did it. We worked so hard. We really persevered to build our family, and it was worth every ounce of hard work and prayer and really just the persistence to get everyone here.
Wow.
Oh, she opened her eyes.
She always opens her eyes when I.
She said, give me a kiss, brother.
Whoa.
I think the family's complete.
The gang's
right?
all here, yes.
All
yeah,
here.
I think the family is complete, exclamation point.
Oh, that's so nice.
I saw for the first time how there was no power, no agency inside of healthcare and its delivery in this country. That regardless whether you are covered, insured, financially stable or not, regardless, across all races, across all ethnicities, you have no power. I personally suffered at the hand of a system such as this. My name is Jenny Joseph, and I'm a midwife. I was 30. I came to Florida. Within a year of being in the United States, I was newly married and trying to find my way, I was working with an obstetrician, and for my whole adult life at that time, I'd had endometriosis, which is not life-threatening, but certainly miserable. And the physician I worked with started talking to me about certain types of surgeries that he could do. So I spent a full year, really, about 4 different surgeries with him. No real results, except for I felt worse, more pain, etc. Finally went for another opinion. And the other physician said, no, the only answer we have for you is we need to remove your uterus, hysterectomy. I was ready, so I said yes. I didn't ask the right questions. I came out of that surgery not only minus my uterus, but minus my ovaries at 30 years old. And that was one of the most horrific awakenings. This was my sort of welcome to America, and I was very overwhelmed by it. And I really I had a sense of such powerlessness around it. My husband was furious. It impacted our lives in a way that I can't describe. Luckily, I already had a child, but obviously that was it for me and him. It was done. I couldn't just accept it. I couldn't accept it. It got me up on my feet, and I said, all right, watch me. I'm gonna fix this mess. And I wanted to fix it for myself, but I also felt like a drive to stand for women and literally stand in that gap and say, no, hang on, this isn't right. The vehicle I used was midwifery because I was already there. I was already a midwife. It's going to be 40 years that I've been doing this work. I feel strongly about how we are, as women, treated in a system where we don't know what to ask. We haven't got a voice. We're not heard. Black women especially are not heard. Native women, Hispanic women, Latinas, any woman who is other is not heard. There's been a lot more talk about maternal mortality recently in the United States. I'm here to say that this is not a new crisis. This has been here. It's just never been really taken care of. Maternal mortality is the death of a woman during pregnancy, labor and delivery, or postpartum. Statistically, it seems to fall around 3 to 4 times as many Black women, African American women, are dying in comparison to white women. This is being called this new crisis because now we're talking about it. I'm so excited about this panel. It is timely. It is like beginning to see the critical mass beginning around maternal health and maternal mortality issues. Because I feel like I can finally, speak to an audience that is particularly trying to hear. Oh, I am so excited that Senator Harris is going to be there, Dr. Taylor, the people that have been on the ground and are moving forward. An opportunity to be able to present alongside of them and to support their work as well as, show and talk about my own work.
It is my great honor to welcome to the podium Senator Kamala Harris. Please give her a warm welcome.
This is one of those truths that must be spoken. This issue of maternal health care, and in particular, how it relates and affects Black women.
It is an acknowledgement of the fact that women and babies are dying every day in America, and that we could actually do something to stop it. And so the bill is an acknowledgement of the problem, and that is to acknowledge that within the problem, there is an issue of implicit bias. The other part of it is understanding that in order for this to actually work, there has to be a community approach. It's going to be about saying that let's go to the medical schools and encourage that there will be training there about these issues, which are real issues. You know, these are uncomfortable truths we're speaking, right? Nobody wants to hear or even believe that this is happening, but it is. So let's deal with it. Let's take it on.
If you can't get into care, you can't be helped, you can't be triaged, you can't be supported. So we opened up first with the birthing center, but we've expanded that into clinics for women who don't necessarily want a natural birth or a midwife, who actually just want prenatal care, right? And we've offered that you can get seen regardless of who you are, what you have, which card you're carrying, how much money. None of those things are of any interest to us at the beginning. We found that the easiest approach was to go ahead and say, just come on. You belong, you're pregnant, you're asking to be seen, let's go. From there, we can then help you get on Medicaid quicker because we know how to do it. We found that the women themselves relate better to our staff who are more in tune and more culturally congruent with them than the higher end, high credentialed, very expensive practitioners. So it's a midwifery model, which is a person-centered, family-centered, equity-based model. Our statistics literally eradicated prematurity, low birth weight, and morbidity for the women in our care. The same women that again are populating the statistics that we're talking about today. Saying, yes, please, come on in, sit down, wipe your tears, we're here. Which doesn't actually cost any money. We found that this works. We have been able to replicate our work. We have studies that have proven our outcomes. And I really encourage all of us to start thinking outside the box. This is a matter of life and death. I don't know what we've got to wait for. But I'm worried about the fact that as this is being presented now, much of it ends up still blaming the woman. Wow, now we've discovered she's just too fat. If she wasn't so fat, she wouldn't have died. Oh, her blood pressure's out of control. If she was getting medical care, she wouldn't have had high blood pressure in the first place. And so in the blaming the woman, we're pinpointing what's wrong, but we're not addressing how it got to be wrong. This isn't a matter of women being non-compliant and don't care about their baby. Many of the studies, research will come up with, oh, well, being black is a risk factor. No. Racism is a risk factor. The women that come to us come from all points. I've had one woman who came from Georgia every pregnancy. Just had a woman who came in from New York for a consultation. But what's always interesting to me is that postpartum visit, there are tears. There's, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm not coming anymore. Like, I'm going to miss you guys. I find it extremely worrisome that we have this little short window of time, the childbearing year, when we have some influence and connection with the women and their families, and that just as soon as they're finished and moved on, that they're out there in this void. We really haven't solved the problem. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It doesn't cost any money. It's really a shift of minds. It's an agreement that we are here only to center the mother. We're here only to get that full-term healthy baby that she's looking for, we're looking for, we're all on the same page. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to give up. But I feel like I can do what I do, how I do it, in my little corner. But in the meantime, I still believe strongly that it's time to tell the truth. And so I am clear that no matter what, this work is making a difference, and I'm going to keep going.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today, all day.
Every day. Wherever you are, Today is there. Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity XFi.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh yes.
With Xfinity XFi.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today, all day.
Every day. Wherever you are, Today is there.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
East Douglas Street and Broadway in Wichita, Kansas. Busy today and 63 years ago when a bus stop set by Dockham Drug Store, a restaurant where riders could sit and have a cup of coffee, unless you were black.
They were on their way to clean white homes, prepare meals for white families, take care of white children. And they might have welcomed on cold mornings to have a hot cup of coffee and sit down inside while waiting for the bus. Well, that wasn't going to happen.
Dockham Drug Store probably isn't in your history books, but it would become the site of a civil rights breakthrough that's only beginning to get recognition.
If you wanted to get something to eat at the Dockham Drug Store, how did it happen then?
Well, they politely told us we could get food to carry out.
Segregation was not reserved for the South. In the 1950s, aspects of black and white communities in Wichita were very much separate and unequal.
Certainly, I can remember having to, if I went to a movie theater downtown, having to sit in the balcony. I couldn't sit on the main floor.
The young adult chapter of the NAACP decided to press for equality at Dockham, hoping change at one store would ripple through the franchise. They prepared for months, and in July of 1958, one of the leaders of the sit-in, Carol Parks Hahn, dressed in her Sunday best, sat at the counter and asked for a Coke. She was followed by one black student after another, each taking a seat at a stool. They simply wanted to sit and have a soda. They were denied the request. Peggy Wesley was just 15 at the time.
We just went in shifts and sat there, and we were very quiet. If somebody said anything to us, we were not to respond to any negativity, of course, and name calling and whatever, and there was a lot of that.
This is the only photo that exists of the sit-in, published in the local African American newspaper. The threat of violence, always a concern.
A young white male looked up and saw me, and he turned so he would bump me, and he didn't hurt me, but I knew why he did that.
The sit-in went on for 3 weeks until the owner of Dockham Drug Store walked in and told the store manager to serve them. He was losing too much business.
We were just elated when we finally could sit down and have a soda with our friends at the counter.
The Rexall drugstore chain joined its Dockham franchise in abolishing discriminatory practices at their stores nationwide, making the Dockham drugstore sit-in the first successful student-led sit-in of the civil rights era, according to the NAACP. The famous lunch counter sit-ins in Greensboro, North Carolina, began a year and a half later in 1960.
What did you think when the word started to reach you that this was starting to happen in other cities?
That there is such a thing as positive contagion. Growing up at that point in time, you better damn sure make sure that it's something positive that you can go home about and feel proud about.
Quiet pride, you might say. The story of their sit-in barely known within many in the Black community in Wichita.
And I grew up with so many of you, and there were a lot of us who had no idea that the man who was sitting right next to me in church had gone through all of those things.
Right.
How is it that folks weren't talking about this? I didn't know this.
It was another event in our lives that was over, and it didn't appear to be a big thing then. Most of our parents who were not involved in the NAACP didn't know that we were doing that.
Did your father know what you were doing?
No, he didn't. I never did disclose to him.
We really didn't talk about it. And in fact, my daughters didn't even know I had not spoken about it to them.
A little-known sit-in, a peaceful act of courage for the right to be treated equally.
What would you say to teenagers now who have that itch to fight for civil rights? What advice would you give to a young person now, almost 60 years later?
The water's fine. It may be too cold sometime, or maybe too warm even sometime, but seriously, you'll feel better about yourself if you strive to make this a better world, a better community.
Man. Wow.
I have so many takeaways. I could talk about this for the next hour, but I think if there is any takeaway, when we talk about Black History Month, we often talk about Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, trailblazers for sure in their own right. But I guarantee you, if you're watching right now, there are trailblazers in your community, your neighbors, somebody who sits next to you at church, and sometimes they're just not sharing their stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's so important to sit down and to talk to our relatives and to hear what they have to say. And really quickly, coming up in our third hour, we track down the granddaughter of the owner of the store at the time.
Oh, wow.
And she has something to say.
Oh, now I have chills.
Oh.
Gosh.
What did they do with that building there in Wichita? Is it still there? Is
Not
it
there anymore. Yeah, I mean, it was 60
Yeah.
years ago.
Sure.
I like his last comment. The water's fine.
Water's just fine.
That was that was beautiful.
warm.
Yes,
Come on.
yes. And thank you guys for talking with me. They, my grandmother had to call them and get them to talk.
Your grandma can be
right after it was over, Peggy said, "Okay, can you call your grandmother now and tell her that I talked to you?" So
I just love the synergy though, like the full circle, and now that you get to tell their story. What
such
an
an
honor.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready? Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
One Republic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Poetry. What comes to mind?
Growing up in Kansas City, Missouri, Marjay Neal suffered a childhood of abuse and homelessness.
I had two sisters, and we were very poor. There were times where we did not have food for ourselves. The moment that we got evicted and we ultimately had to go to the homeless shelter was one of the darkest times. I knew that life wouldn't be the same after this.
While living in the shelter, Marjay's mother insisted she attend an art workshop put on by Halo, a nonprofit that provides housing and education to thousands of at-risk children around the world.
She came to Halo pretty quiet and reserved and very much on guard.
She was very angry. She didn't know how to express the things that she had been through.
So I was a very defensive child because I had to be. I kept everybody at arm's length. I want that love, but I'm scared to receive it. I'm scared that you might leave after you love me.
But after more visits to Halo, Marjay started opening up.
As she grew, her story just started to change a little bit. She started having these little pivotal moments.
The room was just full of love. There's art supplies everywhere. And as an artsy creative child, I was in heaven.
I could tell that she was using words to process the things that she had been through and try to work through them on paper.
In high school, Marjay discovered her passion for poetry and started competing at the national level.
I wrote my first poem about a traumatic childhood experience. Poetry provides a lot of relief. Like the sky before much needed rain.
She's one of our best poets, individuals in the audience who are complete strangers to are in tears. She's touched them in such a way.
When I write in pen because it's permanent. And although some feelings aren't permanent, you have to remember where you come from in order to grow and get to where you've been.
Now 20 years old, Marjay is studying journalism on a full-ride scholarship to the University of Missouri and returns to Halo to lead writing workshops for teens.
Marjay has such an incredible story of resilience to share. She's like a megaphone for these kids who are suffering through the same type of thing that she did. They can see themselves in her.
Poetry has saved my life in multiple different ways. If somebody gets something from my poem and my experiences, then my job is done.
In February, Marjay shared her story in a documentary that debuted at Halo's annual auction. The event raised $650,000 for homeless youth. But it was Marjay who received the biggest surprise of all.
So there's someone else who heard your story and wanted to interview you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Marjay. Hi. I'm so glad to meet you.
It was surreal. I would never in a million years would have thought that you would be saying my name.
When you read your words, you know that comes from such a deep, powerful, and soulful space. You're a shining example of what is possible for everybody.
What a journey for Marjay. She is showing you that artistry can really create a path for success.
Where you come from doesn't define who you are, but it can influence where you go. Anything is possible if you put in the work, if you move with love, and you have passion and purpose.
Marjay hopes to one day publish a book of her work, and we know she will. What a talent. To check out the full documentary featuring Marjay's journey, head to hodaandjenna.com.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
So over the past year, I'd say a lot of people have picked up new hobbies to pass the time or to relieve stress, and knitting has become a popular one.
I recently got to catch up with two women who've been at it for years, knitting their way through tough times, happy times, and even weaving their way into history. They even gave me the chance to join their Stitch Circle for an afternoon. There's this community. You guys are known as Knitfluencers.
I would probably say we're more fiber friends.
Meet Cecilia Nelson Hurt and Darcy Kern, stitching together a pastime with a purpose.
I learned to crochet when I was a kid from my grandmother, and my mother taught me to knit when I was in high school.
So what is crocheting versus what is knitting?
So crocheting is one needle with a hook. And so think granny squares, right, from the 70s. And knitting is what Darcy is doing, and it's two needles.
Cecilia and Darcy are part of a global community of knitters. How did you two hook up? No pun intended.
I started following Cecilia she does posts visiting all these yarn shops all over the world. And I call them yarncations.
What I appreciate about the international aspect is picking up yarn that's not available here. And then that yarn holds a special memory. And then I'm gonna make something really nice that, oh, this reminds me of when we were in Paris and we went to Amy's yarn shop and I got this beautiful yellow.
For them, knitting is so much more than a hobby. As knitters of color, does your culture influence how you knit and what you knit?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. I feel like when I'm in a stitch night, I feel that connection to other women. I do think it's important.
We've all been, stuck inside. It's a fact that COVID has disproportionately affected people of color. Yeah. Add to that, the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Would you say that knitting not just healing, but something that helps you cope?
I did hear from a lot of people in the community that they lost their knitting mojo, but when they regained it, they were able to knit through the grief. There are plenty of women who make prayer shawls where they pray as they're knitting and then they gift that item away.
Whenever something's like stressing me out, like I'll tell my husband, like I'm about to go knit about it. And that is how I just kind of process what's going on.
Inspired by a photo of abolitionist and woman suffrage activist Sojourner Truth, Darcy began a project called Knitting While Black.
I thought to myself, that is a really amazing photo. I bet there are more photos of Black people knitting. And I searched and I found I think 1,400 results with the keyword knitting or knit, and only 3 or 4 of them were Black people. And I know that back then, Black people were doing this, but no one turned it into art. So I decided that I was going to find photos or paintings and I was going to recreate them with myself as the subject and to share some kind of contemporary history about Black people during the same time that art was made.
Even though the world's been put on pause, knitters everywhere are finding common threads.
I'm Christian, but there's a group of Muslim dyers who have created a month-long wool club. Each one is inspired by a different Ramadan tradition. So I've been able to learn a lot about Ramadan through buying this yarn. So the fiber community is full of people who want to learn about others.
And we brought in someone very special who's the knitter in my family to join our Stitch Circle. Hey, sweetheart.
Hi.
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 My daughter, Leela. How do you find the ends?
There you go. You hold your yarn, and then if you wrap it around your finger, and then you do a twist.
Oh, I like that.
Is Mom there to help you?
It's been an honor really meeting you ladies. I have, and just to get a chance to see my girl. So this has been great. Look at you go. Look at you.
She's a natural.
So it runs in the family, but didn't come from you.
No, nothing to do with it. Deborah used to knit, so they came by it really honestly.
welcome to Today All Day. The next 30 minutes, you'll be hanging with me, and I have some of my favorite original videos just for you, full of inspiration and hope. So take a seat, get a tissue, come along for the ride as we hear words of wisdom from some of my favorite people.
I have to say, I love Olympic Hoda.
Yeah.
Out of the studio, sweatshirt. She's so pumped up. She's getting me pumped up for Tokyo. She's also going to help us meet 6 remarkable athletes who just made their Olympic dreams a reality.
She's even wearing the uniform.
I know.
The U.S. women's gymnastics team was selected in St. Louis late last night, and after they revealed who else would they sit with first, our Hoda.
Oh.
Of course.
SG, guys, it was so much fun. If you weren't pumped for the Olympics yesterday, you are today. The energy in the dome behind me was electric. You could literally feel it. It was packed. 21,000 strong in the audience. They were cheering, they were screaming, they were doing the wave, and there was some serious star power on this team, okay? We all know and we all love Simone Biles, okay? She's going to be joined by 5 other phenomenal athletes who are ready for Tokyo, and you're going to want to know these names. Here we go. Are you ready? Simone, Michaela, Jordan, Suni, Jade, and Grace.
Let's hear it for your women's gymnastics team, USA!
It's the moment that changed their lives forever. Meet the 6 stars who will shine bright for Team USA in Tokyo. Raise your hand if you're freaking out. Simone, you too?
Yeah, I mean, it's so real. It's been a long journey.
Simone Biles.
There's one the world already knows very well, Simone Biles.
Spectacular.
The greatest of all time, ready to add more medals to her collection.
Wow.
An alternate for the Rio Games, Michaela Skinner will finally have her time on the Olympic stage.
This is wild.
18-year-old Suni Lee is ready to make her mark too.
She's a rock star.
20-year-old Jordan Childs, named after basketball legend Michael Jordan, now proving that she is a force to be reckoned with.
Nice technique.
2 more new faces who will now be household names, Grace McCullum and Jade Carey.
A ton of difficulty.
All ready to go for gold in Tokyo. But it was an emotional road to get here. Simone, I know you, and I've known you for a long time, and I love you dearly and deeply. When I see your emotions on display, I feel you.
Yeah.
Just describe how you're feeling this time around.
A little bit more tired this time around. I'm a little bit older, so I get tired quicker. But I was really happy, but I was just sad because everybody came out here to watch us, and I didn't give them my best performance.
Not her best, but still the best. And while the crowd celebrated her with a standing ovation, it was Simone who turned around and cheered on her teammate and friend, Jordan Childs. Jordan.
Yes.
You're going to the Olympic Games. You, my friend, are an Olympian. Simone Biles wrapped her arms around you in that moment. Tell me what it felt like to know you made that team.
It was honestly the most amazing feeling in my life. Having her by my side 24/7 and giving me encouraging words every day definitely helped, and it was very motivational.
Y'all are cute. Biles and Childs. Michaela, this dream, some dreams take a long time. Some happen overnight, and some take a while, but as they always say, your dream is right on time.
Mm-hmm.
So as you venture out, and you realize that you're about to step into a big dream, how will you sleep tonight? What will you be thinking about?
I don't think I'll be sleeping. Even after last Olympics, kind of being so close to it, I'm really glad that I never gave up my dream and I kept going.
You had a tough year, boy. I mean, I know that you went through a lot. I know you had COVID. I know you were hospitalized. I know that you wondered, am I ever going to get back to my performing best? Mm-hmm. Look at you.
I know. I survived.
Who's the oldest one? Is it Simone or is it you?
It's me.
Wait,
Michaela's me beat by 3 months.
Yeah.
So you're both 24, you're 3 months older? Mm-hmm. So you no longer have the elder statesman title? Grandma has gone over there?
I feel like we both share it. It's like 50-50.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, you all do kind of care for the other members of your team.
Yeah, of course.
And what do you get out of that, Simone?
We get our youth back. I mean, they keep us going, especially in those workouts in the gym. And we've had such hard times, but seeing the younger ones come up, it's been motivational.
What freaks me out about watching you guys, and literally I was binge eating while you all were competing, but it just struck me, you guys, that you practice since you're a child, and it comes down to 30 seconds, 1 minute. So Grace, I mean, describe that feeling.
Yeah, I think you just have to remember, I've done 1,000 of these routines in the gym, so you just have to trust yourself and trust your gymnastics and that you know what you're doing.
For Suni, this isn't only her dream come true, but her dad's. Her biggest fan has faced his own challenges. Just 2 years ago, an accident left him paralyzed. I wasn't sure if I was more emotional watching you or watching your dad up there.
Yeah.
Did you feel him?
I did. It took me a minute to realize that I was going to the Olympics, but I looked up there and I knew that he was very emotional, and so was the rest of my family.
Well, I loved in one of your interviews, you said you didn't describe it as your dream, you said it was our dream.
This has been our dream for the longest, basically since I was a baby. He's been by my side through everything, so to have him here at the Olympic trials with me is something that was so amazing.
Just the dismount.
Come on, Jade.
Very nice.
Jade's going to the Olympics. Oh my gosh, has that just sunk in? I mean, your dad's coaching you, you're going to the Olympic Games.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm really glad that I have my dad to share it with.
That is true. So your dad's going to be, is that your dad the only parent who's going to be there? Yeah, right, because he's coaching.
So.
Yeah. Well, your dad's going to have to share and help out with everybody. You guys, we are going to be cheering you on. You may not have your moms and your dads and your friends, but you'll have us.
We have Hoda.
Oh, they're going to have all of us, you guys. They are on fire. I can't tell you how emotional and beautiful it was. You saw Simone have that stumble on the beam, and she got very emotional afterwards. She says all of her emotions are heightened, but she came back. She did a great job. So we're pumped, man. We're ready for Tokyo.
Yes, we are.
Pumping us up, Hoda. You should go speak to every American team that's going to compete in Tokyo and just give them like a hype speech.
Oh, Carson, they are so ready for us. And I have to tell you, listening to that crowd scream, they were doing the wave like it was insane in there. It was like being at a rock concert, Carson. So I think it's going to be different there. They're going to be relying on each other. But I said, man, they got Team NBC. They got nothing to worry about. We'll be there with them.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Welcome back. It's been just over 6 months since our dear friend Bobbi Thomas, today's style editor, lost her husband, Michael.
Yeah, anybody who knew Bobbi, whether it's in person or through TV, knows that she wears her heart squarely on her sleeve. And when Bobbi realized that opening up about her own journey could possibly help someone else, she knew right away it was the right time to share not just her grief, but her courage and her gratitude.
I don't need to be told there was a silver lining or a bigger reason. There isn't. And that is okay for me to feel. at the same time, I'm also holding gratitude.
And what do you have gratitude for, Bobby?
My son. And I have gratitude for being loved.
A love that was sealed on a glorious summer day when Bobby got married at Kathy Lee's house.
I remember it so vividly. It was one of the most beautiful days.
I was so scared. And I remember Kathy Lee saying, "This is happening. We're walking." Michael was just so happy.
I promise to always support you and love you unconditionally and to take care of you as long as we both shall live.
He would just look across the room and say, "Hey, we have a really good thing, right?" And I'd say, "Yeah." We were so deeply bound.
That bond carried Michael and Bobby through the good times and the challenging ones. Shortly after their fairy tale wedding in 2013, Bobby and Michael publicly shared their very personal journey to parenthood.
It takes a village to raise children, but to make them too.
We celebrated alongside them when they revealed they were expecting.
Can we say that again?
Bobby is pregnant.
He is pregnant.
Thank God.
Yes.
Thank God.
And when they welcomed little Miles into their lives. But 4 years later, at just 40, Michael would suffer a stroke while on a business trip. Remarkably, he recovered. Then, in the fall of 2020, Michael developed a bacterial infection that led to complications he could not overcome.
When we heard the news that Michael had passed, it was so devastating and shocking. Was it something that you expected?
It was 5 weeks in the ICU, and it was just one thing after the other, like a domino effect. It was multiple organ failure. I knew he had been diagnosed with something rare before we got married. It had to do with his immune system, and it was always positioned as chronic and manageable. Deep inside, I knew that we may not be holding hands at 80, 90.
But Bobby cherishes the time she did have with Michael.
When Michael and I were going through some of the hardest times, it was so simple. That simplicity was magic. You woke up, you worried about what mattered, and you were so grateful for what you had.
It's so weird to think about little conversations. Oh, my husband did this, my husband did that.
It's okay, my friends still call me and, we'll do the, this happened. And you feel ashamed for being in pain, but you still want people to share things with you and make you feel connected. But it is wild to experience the clarity.
What does that mean?
In the middle of those conversations, to want to support your friend and her perspective of what's happening, but to deeply feel the clarity of, it doesn't matter. Who cares that he didn't do the laundry? I'm sorry it's annoying, but he's here. And I wake up trying to find some t-shirts that still smell like Michael. Which ones weren't washed,
Subways are trains to travel underground.
What? And at just 5, their son Miles is also looking for ways to cope.
That's the most painful because I'm his mom. One night at bedtime, he asked me, who invented it and why? And I thought he was gonna ask me about a truck or something.
Yeah.
And he said, this life. I was stunned.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just don't understand why we all can't be angels. And he was still trying to figure out how we could all be together. Oh my God.
What do you think Michael would be thinking right now of you and Miles and where you are in this moment?
He had this easiness to him. And I was always stressing out. And he would just be like, it's okay, it's gonna be okay.
He always did say that, didn't he?
I think he's probably trying to tell me it's gonna be okay in some way.
Is it gonna be okay?
I hope so. I'm so scared.
You said, in this moment, I'm so lucky. How?
Instead of worrying about that I lost him, I think the little time he had, he gave to me. I'm really, really lucky.
And Bobby is obviously in a lot of grief, but she says that grief is, she actually sits with that because it reminds her of how much she loved and loves him, continues to love him. She actually said she's more in love today, on that day than she has been throughout her marriage to Michael. And the other thing she said, which struck me, was if we're thinking about reaching out to somebody and you're afraid, like, not right now, she was like, just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it, because
Yeah.
sometimes we're afraid. And she was touched. I told her when I left, Savannah was like, please, and I said, Savannah was, when I left, everyone's embracing you. We have your arms around you. And she got weepy and she said, that's my other family. So,
I love her so much.
Yeah.
I mean, just what she's doing amazes me. She's so strong, but she's also sincere. She
Yes.
tells the truth.
Yes.
And it hurts. But
Yes.
she's also that love that she's feeling for for Michael and missing him. It means a lot to Miles too.
Yes.
To see that love.
But the idea that she said she's not sure it's going to be okay.
Not sure.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it's healing to a lot of people. Her sincerity, you don't
Yeah.
know who she may have touched even this morning.
And by the way, she kept saying, she almost felt guilty about feeling bad. She goes, do you know how many more people have lost people over this pandemic? But anyway, she says, it's okay when people say it's going to get better, you're going to meet someone. She said, please don't say those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I think people do it with good intent, but
And there's no right way to grieve. I mean,
No.
there isn't, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody's journey.
Yeah.
Yes, but our hearts are with Bobby.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
To find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Shining a light on one of Hoda's favorite organizations.
So pumped up, guys. It's called Groove With Me, a community that was hard hit by the pandemic, and I'm real happy to donate to that group. And thankfully, the kids are now back in class, and this summer marks its 25th year. So we thought something special was in order. So we had this idea. So one of my favorite photographers is YouTube star Jordan Matter. He takes iconic photos of dancers and other action heroes. Well, he's also taken a few shots of someone really near and dear to me. It was actually my very first photo shoot with Haley. So anyway, Jordan agreed to take pictures of the Groove With Me girls out on the town for their very own celebrity shoot. Take a look.
Wow.
When I was born, I knew dance was going to be the only thing I would ever want to do.
I'm capable of anything when I dance.
It's just me feeling every emotion that I feel in my body.
Dancing makes me feel like I should just spread love. Whenever I spin, I feel like I'm a bird in the air just spinning on a nice fluffy cloud.
Groove With Me it's like a second home. That's what it is.
Outside of Groove With Me, I'd say our girls have to grow up fast.
Our neighborhood is like a cave with a bunch of bears fighting because a lot of people fight in our neighborhood.
Living in East Harlem, you always have to be very cautious. There's people who secretly carry guns, people who try to rob you, and then people who are drunk all the time.
But while they're at Groove with me, they have a completely different experience.
You feel safe and free and ready just to fly to get out of what struggles you have.
When I see the little kids dancing, it feels nostalgic because it's like I was in their shoes once. I know that they're trying their best. The bigger girls impress me by doing all these things. That makes me feel like you gotta keep trying and trying and trying.
Black and brown girls in East Harlem attend college at a lower rate than the national average. But 100% of girls that Groove with me attend college because girls that Groove with me have learned that they matter.
I see other people graduate high school or graduate college. It helps me not give up on me.
It makes me feel really special, which is what I'm supposed to feel about myself.
When COVID hit, we thought we'd be closed for 2 weeks. We were closed for 8 months.
I was like, what am I gonna do? Am I still gonna be a famous dancer when I grow up? I was crying.
The girls didn't have a place to go outside of home.
I actually lost one of my grandmas, which made me very, very sad. We didn't say goodbye to her. We didn't hug her. When I finally got to come back, I was so happy. So happy. When I say so happy, I mean so happy.
We raised 85% less this year than in previous years. If we don't raise the money, obviously we can't run the program.
If I could never dance, I would be heartbroken because dancing is my life.
We don't care if they become dancers. We care that they feel good about themselves so they make good choices and they get to have great futures.
When I grow up, I want to be a businesswoman.
I want to be a clinical psychologist,
a doctor, an astronomer. I'm going to be famous.
When they tell me these big careers, it provides hope, that they're looking at where they are right now and noticing that it isn't permanent.
When people see me dance, I want them to know that you gotta believe in yourself.
If you believe that you can go that high and you can go that far, then you will. What I learned from Groove with me is that you're not alone and that when life brings you down, stand up and dance to fly above it.
Wow.
Oh,
Come on, didn't you fall in love? You
Yes.
kind of did. We want to thank Jordan Matter for taking those incredible shots. He's got great work. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got a book out. But when you go back to Groove with me for those kids, it gave them some place to go after school, a purpose. So while other kids didn't have a place to go, they did. The high school graduation rate is in the 90+, and again, the college graduation rate 100%. So Abby McGrath, who's the founder of that organization, is doing a great job.
The photographs are so beautiful. They
Yeah.
should make a table book and sell it.
Ooh, that's a great
And all
idea.
the
You should
proceeds
tell them
should
that.
go to Groove
There you
with
go.
me.
That's
brilliant.
brilliant.
How about that?
You could raise money for that.
Yeah.
That's what
I
I'm.
think it's brilliant.
Oh my
Brilliant.
goodness.
Why not? It's absolutely beautiful. Y'all right
Of
over
all
there.
the stories we heard today, this is what I'm like bawling over. But I will say this, as a short brown girl who used to dance, when you think of ballet, you think of these tall swan-like figures. So it's very challenging sometimes to love to dance, but not look like what a dancer is supposed to look like. So when you go to a class like that and you look around, there are other girls who look like you, and it feels good. I live in Harlem. I know what they're going through. So it just hit me on so many levels. That is so important. That program is so important.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
One Republic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
and important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
If there ever was a list of people we'd love to have as our first studio guest back in the studio, you better believe numero uno would be the lady we have today, Tina Fey.
Yes, we made the list. She's on it. She's a 9-time Emmy winner. And while some of us were catching up on old shows over quarantine, Tina was working on new ones, including the hilarious Hoda's very favorite show of all time, Girls 5 Eva. It's about a one-hit wonder girl group from the 90s who reunite for a second chance at fame.
And we are so happy to have Tina here today. Ladies and gentlemen, the one year with Tina Fey!
We did it!
Yes! We did it! We did it! Hi, Tina!
Hi, Tina. We're sorry we don't have a bus, but our budget is a little
We're at the fourth hour.
Yeah.
We're going to get you a cab. But we want to congratulate you first and foremost. We've got a second season. Because I'm part of
Yeah,
us.
no,
By the way, 100%.
She
now.
actually is a producer. I don't know if you know that.
I feel like, yes. We have season 2 was announced yesterday. Girls 5 Eva will be doing a season 2, which is fantastic news, mostly for Hoda, but for us as well.
No, Hoda sent me the first 5 episodes, and she is your #1 fan.
I was literally begging Jenna to watch. I said
she didn't have to beg me too
I
hard.
didn't. Yeah.
But the best part is that she also says you'll relate with this part. For example, when Paula Pell sweats a lot,
sweats through her clothes,
and throws water. But the writing is so funny, and it is relatable, even though it's about something that most of us will not experience, which is being in a wonder group.
Yeah, even though it's about women who are in a band, it's super relatable. Meredith Scardino is the writer-creator, and she is one of the funniest humans ever. And yeah, it's really about kind of like, you know who you were when you were 20, but who are you now when you're about 40, and what friendships do you bring with you, and you know, and I think also in terms of pop music and culture, we're all looking back now at the 90s being like, oh, some of the stuff we thought was normal was not normal.
Yes.
That's very true.
Well, it's funny, the writing's funny, the singing is funny, but it also has a real soul to it. I like that part of the show. And it's kind of cool to watch these girls find their voice in their 40s and 50s. I was just curious, like, when did you feel like, you know what, actually, I'm saying what I think now. Now I'm stepping up for
That's a great
myself.
question. I think, you know, somewhere after 40, where you just feel a calm about like, no, I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. I think that was a good turning point for me personally.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. You have 2 girls, and one of them is in this show. Stars as Busy Phillips' daughters. What's it like to watch them come into their own? Because, you know, so many times as moms, we like want to hold their hands. Were you a stage mommy?
The only stage mom thing I did that I was like, wow, this is not great, was our daughter Penelope was on set, and she was doing a great job. And then, like, you know, it takes a long time to shoot things, and it was getting to be when you kind of try to finish stuff before you break for lunch. There she is. And I had a moment where I thought she was getting a little tired, and I was like, give her a Snickers. Which is like the worst kind of stage mom thing to be like, give them a Red Bull. But I didn't give her a Red Bull. You know, Snickers.
By the way, I have to say, these women sing so beautifully, and I'm convinced that one of their songs is going to wind up on the charts because
it's going to tuck it into existence.
I was a Brady Bunch fan. I think I'll go for a walk outside now. The summer sun's calling my name. I mean, if it is possible there, I think it can be possible. You guys do have an album out, essentially, right?
Yeah, we have this album out. What happened was that, you know, there are, I think, something like 31 songs or tiny pieces of songs in the first season, and some of them you just hear a tiny snippet. But then we realized, because it was Peacock, that we could have end credits sequence, that Jeff Richmond, our composer, and Meredith were like, oh, we should finish the songs. And so it was so funny to hear, you know, we'd hear like a little bit of Dawn's I'm Afraid song about all her anxieties, and then Meredith would send the rest. She would write the rest of the lyrics, and they would literally be handing them to Sarah in the booth, being like, sing this now. And people were just crying, laughing in the booth at these new jokes and also at her beautiful voice.
People should listen to I'm Afraid, but do it when your kids aren't in the room, but it is so hilarious.
Hi, Today All Day. We have a great show for you on this Monday morning, including an empowering interview with the granddaughters of entertainment legends. But let's kick it off with pop star. There are so many things we love about fixer-upper star Chip Gaines, and today he has an exclusive announcement you can only see here. Take a look. Guess what? What? Carson is here.
I'm frozen.
He's back. You guys, we're
People at
judging
home have
this-
no idea. Have you reported?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Can you
Is there a
see the
blizzard?
goosebumps? Seriously, we can.
Oh, actually, yeah,
I don't
please
know
zoom
if
in
you
there.
look at the hair on Dylan's arm.
I like it cold. My house is 65 at all times. This is like
55.
This is legit
it is.
meat locker situation.
A cold front.
I'm going to be
love
jerky
it.
by the end of the show.
Well, welcome.
Well, let's get to Pop Start. It's good to be back. First up, Bob Ross, the iconic artist behind possibly one of the most calming shows to ever air on television. That is The Joy of Painting. Is the subject of a new Netflix documentary titled Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal, and Greed. The doc tells us the untold story of the famous painting instructor's career and the shocking battle over his business empire. And in an exclusive first look at the film, we see the joy Ross felt from teaching new students. Have a look.
Bob liked the thrill of watching a new student smile with a fresh, new, beautiful painting. Bob would just make him so happy, it's unreal. It's like, man, did I do this? I couldn't have. Yes, you did.
There's a lot going on besides painting, and I think people are aware of that and they enjoy that.
I want to know more.
Bob Ross, Happy Accident, what's in the title? Betrayal and Greed. You wouldn't expect those.
Not at all. Turn there, Carson.
That's right. That hits Netflix this Wednesday. Next up, our buddy Chip Gaines. There's so many things that we've come to love about Chip, the fixer-upper star. And high on that list, of course, would have to be his beautiful head of hair. So big news from Chip now about those flowing golden locks. He's decided to chop them off, but it's for a good cause. Starting today, Chip is teaming up with St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital for a fundraising event to benefit their life-saving mission of finding cures and saving children. 4 years ago, Chip did this. He launched the first Operation Haircut and raised $230,000 on social media. This time around, for every fundraising milestone he hits, Chip has agreed to chop off an additional extra inches of his hair. If you'd like some more information about Chip Gaines' hair, you can go to his Instagram page, and we'll be sure and give you details on the website that we have too, today.com. That campaign begins today and runs through Friday. Good for him. Next up, Justin Timberlake. You guys teased this a little while ago. He sings, he dances, and apparently he works at Target. Not really, but there's a video out now that's gone viral. It's seen over 2 million times, and it shows Justin behind the register. He's ringing up his buddy's purchases inside a Target.
Sit down.
Oh, you got icebreaker?
Yeah, I got the speaker and the drink.
What else did you want?
Yeah, just a piece of gum.
Gum?
Yeah, thanks, man.
Interesting strategy there. He rings up the gum and the mints and he just puts them right back on the
Wait,
table.
what is he doing?
Seems to have
He has
been
a lot
a
to learn.
successful trip. There's another video that posted it to TikTok by Douglas Anthony where the two are seen just jamming in the parking lot with a speaker in hand. This happens in California a lot.
It happens all the time.
If you like walking out, you see like a regular person in California, like, my God, that guy looks just like Keanu Reeves, and you realize, oh, it is Keanu.
Yeah.
It's California.
And for the most part, sometimes they leave people alone. I was just telling Tom I had LL Cool J on my flight 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Nobody even recognized that it was him. I'm like, the skull cap. I didn't say he was in having a moment. He had his earphones in, and nobody bothered him. So
Right.
that's how it works.
Next up, Harrison Ford, the Indiana Jones star, who's used to playing a hero on screen, made a quick stop over the weekend. This is a great story. At a London firehouse to brighten a real-life hero's day. The Westminster London Fire Brigade tweeted, Han Solo comes to Soho. Mr. Ford was kind enough to congratulate firefighter Andrew Shaw on his last night shift for 31 years of service. That is one pretty cool send-off into retirement for Mr. Shaw. Ford is currently in London shooting the 5th installment of Indiana Jones. And finally, Gwen Stefani, our buddy, celebrated a pretty big milestone for their family over the weekend. Her son Zuma is officially a teenager. Gwen sharing a look inside the birthday celebrations with Blake and the other boys there. You got Zuma in the middle. It's Apollo and Kingston, and tugging at the heartstrings with this sweet post on Instagram writing, "Happy 13th birthday to my Zuma baby. We love you so much. They grow up so fast."
Oh, that's so
They
sweet.
do. Great.
Yeah.
So happy birthday.
I love that. Did you know Dylan Dreyer's first concert ever? No Doubt. Was a No Doubt
Wow,
concert.
you're young. That's awesome.
Person I was allowed to go to, yeah.
Out of college and went on tour with No Doubt.
What was your first concert, Carson?
Ziggy Marley.
Ziggy Marley.
County Bowl, Santa Barbara.
Really quickly while we're talking.
You know, I don't even want to say this. Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer. That was big in Miami. Yeah.
And mine was MC Hammer and Boys to Men.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good show.
There you
Hammer
go.
put on a good show.
I wanted to be a Hammer girl. Really.
Dylan's was
Could've been.
BTS. Is that what you said it was?
Couple weeks.
The Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, that was a little more recent. Coming up next on Today Talks, we are sharing a simple trick to remember people's names. That's a good one. Stay with us.
This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
and a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh, yes. With Xfinity X5.
It has been a long year. Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
To find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Welcome back. Today on the third hour, Dylan and Tom Yamas join me for an Overheard on Third you don't want to miss. Take a look.
It is time for Overheard on Third. I notice I'm wearing some sriracha from the last segment. It's that good, you'll want to wear it. So today we're actually talking about some parenting mistakes. And on Reddit, mom and dads actually shared how parents could learn from their own mistakes before it's too late. Some were, really heartfelt, like make sure you make time for your kids because, time goes so fast. Others suggest, don't make one parent good cop and the other parent bad cop. Yeah. But some were more fun, a little more humorous, like those baby clothes made with the really wide necks. That's so which I just told you.
Yeah, I didn't know
that's
about
so you
that.
could put it on, foot
From the
first,
bottom?
as opposed to trying to squeeze it over their head. Who knew?
Are you sure about that? I don't.
Yes, you've
Okay.
never tried it.
Never
It's
tried
the
it,
easiest way to take it off too.
Like a
'Cause if they
onesie?
especially if they go to the bathroom, through,
Yeah.
and they go through
Right,
the
you don't
diaper.
wanna get in their face
You don't
or
want to
head.
rub
Yeah,
it up on
yeah.
their face, so you pull it
I
down.
gotta find these clothes. Okay.
Who knew? Are there any parenting mistakes that you would like to share?
I don't really have any.
Oh, look at
None?
Miss Perfect Parent
Oh,
here.
no,
Yeah.
no, I'm trying to think of mistakes that I've made. I'm just so perfect. No, I'm just kidding. No, I can't think of anything. Give me one.
I'll help you out. We were really lax about our kids sleeping and coming to our bed. And we went through
okay,
that
that's a
phase
good
with
one.
each of them where they'd come to our bed, we have to go back, and then I meet some parents who are like, oh, we never, this is how I travel with my kids here in the back of a Yeti backpack. But
so cute.
You meet parents sometimes are like, oh, we never allowed that. We locked our door, or we sent them straight away. It took us a while. All of them are sleeping in their beds. Our 3-year-old will sometimes
come back in. Can I tell you something though? I don't think that was a mistake. I actually regret not doing that because I feel like, so our little guy, he had his own little space, he had his own little room, and so he just kind of knew that was his space.
Right.
But now that he's like 12 and almost taller than me, I want him to snuggle.
You're
So
going
I
into
feel
his
like
bed.
if you're in a phase where your little one is constantly crawling into your bed and you're like, ugh, it eventually will end, and those days go by so fast.
Calvin's in that phase right now. We tried buying one of those clocks, where it
Oh, we've
turns
done that.
green when he can come in. But then
Wait,
when he
what?
comes in, so there's a clock, it's red, he can't leave the bed. But when it's green, he can leave the bed. So I set it to 2 o'clock in the morning. So he comes in at 2.
They have stuffies like that
Yes.
too, little toys,
But
right?
then he comes in and he's like, yay, mommy. And I'm like, how how could I give this up? It's just
because then
it's
they
so
get
sweet.
too big, and
Well,
like
they do take up
our
a
little
lot of
guy he'll go like
They
horizontal,
sit this
yeah,
way.
and it's just
True. Yeah, and then you add the dog in, and stuff. So we talked about this before the break, trying to remember names.
Yeah.
Are you good
I'm
with
not
names?
good at it.
I'm terrible.
try to. I mean,
The
you know,
second
it's like
you
everybody
tell
else.
me your name, it's forgotten.
I know. And it's such a horrible quality. And I want to be better.
I do want to be better. Well,
Yeah.
we can be better
Okay.
because there's an article in the Washington Post that here is a trick that you can do. So someone tells you their name, say it back to yourself 10 seconds later, okay? Then say their name in your head again, then 30 seconds later, say their name again, then 2 minutes later, then 5 minutes later, then 10 minutes later. Just keep remembering to say their name in your head over and over. It seems like a lot of work.
That is a lot of
That
work.
sounds like
And that should help to remember somebody's
Like, you have to really be
name.
worth it for me to be
I try to do like the association, like, okay, your name is the same name as my sister-in-law or something like. So
Right,
that way,
right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't forget.
Or if your name's like Joaquin, I'll remember that.
Right. Well, that's my problem. Is because my name is unusual. You too.
Dylan, yeah.
People tend to remember
Tom,
unusual names.
forget about
No,
it.
like I was like writing notes down. I was like, what are their names? I was like, okay.
All right, real quick. One, we were also talking about this. There's another article in the Washington Post. Have you ever had a dream about your significant other that just kind of set you off and upset you? And
Yeah.
have you ever woke up mad the next morning?
Oh yeah.
Has that happened to you guys?
It just happened the other day. I had a dream that I was running outside to tell Brian something, and he was standing there with a bag of frozen French fries, and I was crying my eyes out. And I said, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Well, I'm going to go meet the girls from Saturday Night Live." And I was like, no. Okay, so then I wake up, and the next day I was so mad at him.
Oh my gosh.
Because like he left me to go eat French fries with another girl.
Wait, are the girls from SNL kind of cool?
I don't
Are they
even know
like?
what he said. Which girls were they?
But it's a dream. Oh, it is.
He
That's
doesn't know anything.
That's hilarious.
I'm not alone, right?
Well, you're lucky.
Yeah, no, I've had that. No, I've had the same thing. Like where you're, and this is gonna sound so weird, but you dream your spouses with like hanging out with someone else. And you're like, what? And you wake up upset. And you're like, what was going on last night?
Oh, she's so pretty.
Yeah, there she is. And she's trying to like all these dudes are trying to hang out with her. I'm like, stop talking to them.
She's mine. That's good
All right.
stuff. We'll be right back. You guys need psychologists or something. Coming up on Hoda and Jenna, the ladies share the women they follow on social media for inspiration.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
One Republic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day. Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
To find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today, all day.
Every day.
Wherever you are, Today is there.
Welcome back today on Hoda and Jenna. Jenna sits down with the granddaughters of Lucille Ball, Audrey Hepburn, and Eleanor Roosevelt to hear the lessons they learned from their legendary grandmothers. Take a look.
I feel like every time you turn around, if you look, there's an inspiring, someone who inspires you. And sometimes it's like someone who you meet and you're like, oh my God, how did you do that? How are you so driven?
Yes.
Yeah, and like, let's talk about those.
Okay. So since we're celebrating women, let's do a little fun game we call Celebrating Women.
Okay.
So who was the woman when you were young that you looked up to?
Well, I looked up to my mom, but I actually looked up to all the women in our family because on my mom's side, I knew my mom grew up in Egypt. And her mother was among the first female doctors, and her aunt was the first female lawyer in Egypt. So when I walked around, you thought, like, oh, my God, that blood's in my veins. Like, I can do things. And you don't think about it, but you go, oh, my gosh, I've got that.
How cool is that, by the way?
And really cool.
You were one of the first women to be a women-only team.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Here at the Today Show.
That's something. That's something. That's something. All right, tell me about you.
It's the women in my family, too. Like, it's almost cliche to say that your mom and your grandmothers taught you to use your voices, but of course they were the ones that we watched. And I'm named after my grandma, Jenna, whom nobody really knows.
Yeah,
she never graduated, my mom's mom. She never graduated from college, but she studied at Midland Community College her entire life till she had to quit driving.
Wait, what?
And she didn't travel the way that my other grandmother traveled, but she read National Geographic and dreamed of it. So she taught me to love to read, too.
Who did you interview that really struck you and you're like, wow?
Maya Angelou.
Oh, my God, tell me.
And she wrote a book about her mom. Speaking of womanhood, she wrote a book about her mom, and I was pregnant with my first child, Mila. And I sat in her home and, just wept.
I'm getting chills
It was the best. I mean, she was somebody that I always admired. What about you?
Oh, my God. I mean, I've interviewed so many cool people. I just interviewed Roz Brewer, who's the new CEO of Walgreens. I adore Viola Davis. If I want to feel uplifted on social media, we'll leave a second. But Viola is like my go-to number one. You hit her thing, she's always lifting people up.
I followed her because of you. Okay. Lucille Ball, Audrey Hepburn, Eleanor Roosevelt, women you all know and admire who broke barriers in entertainment and politics and paved the way for generations to come.
Well, now, we want you to meet their granddaughters, who we had the opportunity to meet recently. They shared some of their fondest memories and the lessons they learned from their legendary grandmothers.
It says right here, we work miracles.
In the 1950s, Lucille Ball broke new ground in television with her series I Love Lucy, along the way becoming one of the most iconic entertainers of all time. But for Kate Luck and Bill Connor, her recollections of the woman who is her grandmother are a little different. You were 4 years old when your grandma, you called her Nana, when she passed away. Do you have memories of her from back then?
I do. She was really involved in my life at that time. She would wrap my little tufts of hair in these curlers and put me in silk pajamas. She loved being a grandma.
As you grew up after she had passed, did you have any idea, just how big she was?
I didn't watch the show a lot as a kid, and then I started watching it in my 20s. I called my mom one day, in a tizzy, and said, Mom, this show is really funny. Of
course, Lucille and Desi Arnaz were married for a time off-screen as well, after giving birth to Kate's mother, Lucy Arnaz, and later a son, Desi Jr. Lucille went on to become the first female head of a major Hollywood studio, Desilu. Your Nana didn't set out to become an icon.
No. And she didn't even want to be the head of the studio. And she still called Desi all the time and said, what do? I don't want to do this. But she just did things because she had to, She wore pants because she liked pants, not because she wanted to say women should wear pants.
Just as Lucille was ruling the small screen in the 1950s, Audrey Hepburn was making her mark on the big screen.
Well, hello, how are you?
Reaching a level of fame her granddaughter Emma Ferrer is still struggling to grasp.
I know you never got to meet your grandmother. How old were you when you realized the impact that she had?
I still haven't truly realized the impact that she's had. My dad sat me down probably when I was about 4 and tried to explain. And slowly I started going to friends' houses and seeing that she was in a poster in their kitchen, or I would see her on a t-shirt or on handbags. And I kind of was like, I guess this actually is a bigger deal than I thought it was.
An avid dancer in her teens, Audrey was just 24 years old when she earned an Oscar for her role in Roman Holiday.
Thank you so very much.
You're in your mid-20s, which is when your grandmother was this huge Hollywood icon. How do you reckon with that?
When 21 rolled around and I was like, okay, what have I done? It's kind of like inevitable to compare and despair, as they say. It's like this dichotomy of wishing that I had had the chance to know her and also feeling like really intimidated by who she is and how like amazing she is.
Well, I've got a wonderful idea.
Audrey's role in Breakfast at Tiffany's solidified her status as a fashion icon, and some of her looks live on through Emma today.
I have like sweaters that I just have worn so much over the years, and I'll put it on and like forget that it's hers, and then I'll like be painting and be like, wait, no, don't get paint on this. Stop.
Audrey had 2 children, including Emma's father, Sean Hepburn Ferrer. In the 1970s, she stepped out of the spotlight and focused on motherhood. Later, she would embrace her role as a UNICEF ambassador, up until losing her battle to cancer at just 63 years old.
Sometimes it's hard to be connected to somebody that you didn't really know, but probably plays a huge part in your life. How do you stay close with her?
Having sort of begun my own journey working with humanitarian organizations, this has been a way for me to really kind of feel a connection to her in her UNICEF years. I think that she really revolutionized what we take for granted today, a celebrity of her magnitude associated with a cause like she was. I don't know if we can really appreciate how revolutionary that impact was.
Revolutionary is how many remember former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, including her granddaughter Anne Roosevelt and her great-granddaughter Tracy Roosevelt.
She was a person who said, I want things to change. I want my life to change. And then she just would go do it.
Something that was really important to her was making sure that women could stand on equal footing economically. I really do feel like she just set this amazing example.
Later known for her outspokenness, Eleanor was initially reluctant to step into the public eye. She became First Lady in 1933 at age 48, during her husband, Franklin Delano Roosevelt's first of 4 terms as president.
There was a quote where she said, I'm just going to be a plain, ordinary First Lady, which I think anybody that studied her knows that is not the case.
I really think she didn't want the role. She didn't want to have the spotlight trained on her. And so part of her was terrified.
She was very humble. And so I think that she thought sort of, why me? Why am I going to be in the spotlight now?
Eleanor went on to redefine the role of First Lady, holding press conferences, writing columns, and fighting for human rights. But to her family, she will always be Grandmère.
What do you feel like in your family her legacy has been?
We all have a love for Grandmère.
You see inspiration from Eleanor Roosevelt that we each take because she was never afraid of standing up. She was not a bystander.
Generations of young people still resonate to her vulnerability, her humility, her determination, her courage to stand out, to not be silent.
Isn't it so cool to see how these awesome women are carrying out their grandmother's legacies and doing such incredible work on their own right?
Today Talks continues after the break. We're whipping up a traditional Filipino dish with Chef Jordan Andino for Make Ahead Monday. Stay with us.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press. Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition. Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
It is time for a media edition of Make Ahead Monday, and Jordan Andino, chef and owner of Flip Siggy here in New York, is going to show us how to make a pork adobo. Jordan, good morning. I've never had this before, but I've been nibbling little bites, and this is amazing. What did you do?
Yes. Well, good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Yeah, adobo just in general is the national dish of the Philippines. So I feel as a Filipino, my goal is to give it to everyone and educate everyone on how delicious and simple this is.
Well, if this is simple, I'm all in because it's amazing.
How do you get to start? I'm like starving.
I don't know. I
There you go.
pork in front
So
of
you
me.
actually started with a large cut of meat, which I feel like most people can find somewhat intimidating. How do you start?
Yeah, so that's why. So I have a glove right here just for in terms of time management. But right here you have actually a pork butt or a pork shoulder. So what I like about this is that it's a delicious cut of meat, but it just takes some time to braise. It's cheap, it's easy, and it's not that intimidating. Notice it's really big. All you got to do, it's typically boneless and skinless.
Okay.
So all you got to do is just pretty much cut it up into maybe 1.5, 2-inch cubes. It doesn't need to be pretty. You kind of just go at it and just make large cubes so that it just cuts the cooking time down from like 3 hours to maybe 2 hours instead.
Oh my gosh,
So
it's
it's
so
super
good.
simple. Yeah, you just have the, chunks like this. As you guys can see, it's not, too crazy.
Okay.
And then once you break down your big piece, you'll have kind of your nice bowl of like already chopped up meat right there. You guys are enjoying it already.
So what are you adding? What are you adding?
Yeah,
before
where is all this flavor
the
coming
flavor
from?
is coming? Like before it starts to braise.
Yeah, so all you have to do, it's pretty simple at that point. Once it's cut, let's pretend the stove top is right here. We have my pot. All you got to do is add a little bit of oil to the base, and this is going to help you saute and caramelize everything and garner a lot more flavor from the minced garlic, which I just threw in. And then after that, once the garlic browns, you're going to throw in your pork shoulder that you just cut. So you're just going to put that in and just let that really kind of brown and just get some more flavor and a little bit of caramelization.
It's not too hard. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's,
No, it's
it is
perfect.
So delicious.
Yeah, no, and it's supposed to be just delicious and easy. After that, the flavor that you guys are getting comes from a couple of things. It's going to be your oyster sauce, which is like seafood oyster flavored sauce, along with a little bit of sriracha, which is kind of you're going to give your hot and sweetness right there. But really, what I want to concentrate on the flavors are these three ingredients right here. You have your Swansea soy, and then your dati puti vinegar, and then your mushroom soy sauce.
Where do you get
My
those?
grandmother's going to kill me. These are the three combination recipe to make the adobo, and the true Filipinos out there will really appreciate these.
Yeah, that vinegar,
Secret's
you
out.
can
Yeah,
taste
so
that
all you got to
vinegar.
do, yeah, basically all you got to do is just pour all this in there. It's super simple. You just pour it in. It's about like 3/4 cup of the swan soy, 3/4 cup of the dark mushroom soy. Those have a lot of sodium in it, so you don't need to add any salt. That's going to give you that awesome flavor. And then that tanginess that you guys are tasting is from this cane sugar vinegar from the Philippines here.
Where can you buy that?
So, there's a couple of we'll call them Asian marts all around, like Queens, Jersey, and in the East Village. And also Chinatown. It's hard to find, but once you do find it, these are ingredients that you always want to keep stocked because it's so delicious, and it's a great replacement for just your regular kind of white vinegar.
Well,
It is so good.
But
Jordan, I'm
yeah, and then
enjoying
so
this
once
over rice, but I know you can also, once you're left with all these leftovers, you can turn it into this amazing torta. Yum.
Yeah, you're right. So once it's done, you have your beautiful plate like this, which you guys are having, and then you have your torta. So your torta, which you guys have right there, are that's how we get to the leftover Mondays, because you make a big batch of this 2-pound pork. You got to build a sandwich. So I have mine right here. All you guys got to see right there is you have your your toast and then your meat, and it's already made. All you got to do is just start building it. So you have your bottom bun, a little bit of mayo, a little bit of hot sauce. But the real concentration here are your pickled onions. So I started with very simple pickled onions. It's just salt, sugar, white vinegar. Boil it, throw in some red onions, and you get that beautiful pink color there.
So good.
Yeah, it's going to add like a really nice tang.
Hey, real quick, yeah, because pork is so hard to cook for some people. And I got to say, I'm Cuban, so like Filipinos, we eat a lot of pork. This is amazing. How do you know when your pork's done?
Okay, that's a great question. So I'm going to show you guys what that's supposed to look like. So as you guys can see, you know because of how tender everything is. So all you got to do is just cook it, braise it for pretty much like 2 hours, and then you're going to get this. And I'll give you a nice little reveal real quick. It should look something like that.
Oh, okay.
So any of you guys can see it. it just really just falls apart. So here's how you know. You know that everything's ready. You just got to take your pork, put it on a plate, and then you're going to see how easy it is. You just take a fork or two and just press it.
Wow.
There you go.
That's why it's so
And you're going to see how quickly it is to pull, because that's how you know it's done. 2 hours, medium heat. And look at that. It just comes apart like that.
Jordan, we are out of time, but we
have happy plates.
We
have
can't stop
happy
eating.
plates.
Yeah.
We've eaten all of our
I've had sauce all over my face, so I'm trying to keep this clean. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Delicious.
Of course, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy.
For these recipes and more, head to today.com/food. You have to make them.
I'm still holding my fork.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
You came up 101 flights.
Yeah.
How are you with heights?
I love it because I hated it as a kid.
Yeah.
And I don't know about, oh gosh, I'm just remembering now. Like, I had such a fear of heights. And growing up in Australia, everyone seems to be jumping off something, going rock climbing. Everyone's doing something to do with heights, roller coasters. And it was a nightmare because I had all older brothers and sisters. So I was trying to keep up with them. And I'll never forget, we went on a school trip. I was probably 12, and it was the first time I'd rock climbed.
Oh, geez.
And so my group were there, and I was the first one up. So I'm halfway up this rock climb, and I freeze. I'm actually just thinking about it. I absolutely froze, and the guy's trying to encourage me, and I can hear snickering from the other 15 kids. And it just got worse and worse. I'm shaking. The guy said, "You're going to have to come down." I said, no, I'm not coming. No, I'm going to get there. And he goes, no, you're coming down. So he lowers me down, and I can just hear the laughter. And I started to cry, and I turned to them and I said, yeah, well, you just wait till you try it. You just wait. You wait. It's really hard. So I come down. They're all like snickering, and one by one, they all
went
just
to the top?
No problem. They just flew up. And for the next 3 years, it literally became. That was the catchphrase. So anything I did in school, and people would be like, well, you just wait till you have to try it. Like, all right, let's do this math test. Well, you wait till you have to try it. And I'm like, never lived it down. So I actually went to the diving board at our school, and I just jumped off it until at lunchtime for like a week until I got over it. And now I love it.
Is that like your philosophy on life? When there's something in the way, you just have to like look it in the eye
Totally.
and do it?
I am quite I was a fearful kid, fearful of heights, fearful of the dark. I never liked being in a house on my own. And then when people say what's your biggest fear, it's fear itself for me, because it just stops you living. It stops you enjoying so many things. And so I just always, if I'm scared of something, if I have to bungee jump, which I now would love, I'll be straight off. Don't think about it, just go.
Wait, you would do that without?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So why have you got one set up?
There's no way
we are 101 floors up. Could be.
I know.
Could be a first.
Well, you're like an action guy too, so you have to kind of
pretend.
you don't really do any of that stuff. How do you teach your kids to overcome fear? Like, what's the way to teach?
That's a really good question. The first thing I teach them now, which I didn't, is to admit it. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to say you're scared. It's not embarrassing to be scared. It's normal. And by the way, sometimes it's a really smart thing to be scared, right? Mm-hmm. As a parent, I think the amount of things I should have been more scared of, you know, but just admit it and don't be harsh on yourself. I think my main message to them now is no good comes out of being harsh. Harshness doesn't really achieve anything. Even with yourself, you can be firm with yourself, you can push yourself a little bit, but do it with more loving ways. So, you know, it's a fine balance, isn't it? Because we all know that there are hurdles in life, and you have to kind of push through them, whether it be the first date, the SAT, whatever that first test. You do have to push through it, but my philosophy is to be kinder about it to yourself.
They were right.
What about you?
Well, you know what though? I want to tell you one thing. They were right. We have a woman who works with me who does hair, and a woman who works with me who does makeup. And they said, when you sit and visit with Hugh, you will never think that he's Hollywood. You'll think he's your friend. And I just want to say that they were right.
Oh, thank you.
They were right. They were right. They're not here.
They're not here.
They're not here.
Long
But
time.
they were right. They were right. So that's such a great trait. Wow. I mean, because it's in this business, it's hard to keep that, I think.
Yeah, well, if you want to ask my guys who are here, I'll give you the opposite point of view.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They're like,
the laughter, there it is. Yeah, listen, I think for me, My first job in anything as an actor, I was 26. So I think it's really hard. I really feel for the kids who become very famous and successful early on in life. I mean, I didn't know. I would say 25 is when I started to get a little bit of a handle on who I was, where I was going. By 26, I mean, X-Men was my first real movie in America. I was 30. Now at 30, you know who you are, right? So if someone hands you for example, Sexiest Man Alive, I only try to mention it once in every interview, Hoda, but I'm like, well, I do remember a good solid 10 years of literally not being noticed and getting turned down every corner. So it's weird that I'm all of a sudden that guy,
Guy.
So I think it helps having had some rejection and some real life experience.
Welcome to Today All Day.
All day?
Today, all day. All day.
This is a long way of asking who's your favorite character you've ever played?
The unicorn. The unicorn. You gotta have the unicorn.
What is she right there? That's why you're saying all these nice things?
Yeah, she gave me the look. Sorry to disturb your day. Everyone's mad at you, Willie.
Better make this fast. I don't want the wrath of Luna.
When I see you, I always think, I wonder what his quote would be.
Give us 6 minutes and we'll ask as many questions as we can.
Welcome to Cold Cuts.
Cold cut, cold cut.
My buddy Cal cooking with me.
Dads don't babysit. It's called parenting.
What was the first book you remember loving?
Heart Smart Today with simple exercises to strengthen your heart.
Make the most of your beach days.
It's all about the tracksuit now. How good do they look?
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Kiss the bride.
This morning, a story of people helping people.
You've received tons of letters from people who have been inspired.
Let's do the weather out. Okay. All you gotta do is say, it's cold, it's warm, it's raining, it's snowing. That's it.
One of our most favorite franchises ever, Ambush Makeovers.
Okay.
Look at it. It doesn't look so good.
No, it doesn't look good.
Will you judge us in a cook-off?
I will, and you guys will definitely win something.
Today, all day.
All day?
All day.
Welcome to Today All Day.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today All Day.
Every day.
Wherever you are, Today is there.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today All Day.
Every day.
Wherever you are, Today is there.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
I was thinking about the projects you choose and why you choose them, because you choose so many. You're like such a Renaissance guy. I mean, I see you on Broadway. I saw your one-man show. I thought that was incredible.
Thank you.
See, in X-Men, you do all kinds of things. You're about to do The Music Man. You've got this movie that's coming out right now.
Yeah.
So when you're choosing a project, does it have to check a box, or do you go on gut, or what is it?
Gut, more and more. And if there's a box to be checked, I have to be a little bit nervous about it. I have to feel there's a challenge to it. That brings out the best in me. And also it means I know that I'm going to have to grow. You know, if I go, I've done that, I know how to do that, I probably wouldn't say yes. Director and script. So the story, director, the people you're working with are key, and then gut. More and more I trust my gut. And if I look back, the times I've trusted my gut, against all reason, it almost always works out.
All you have to do is follow my voice.
Tell me about Reminiscence. So when this project came to you, I know the director sought you out. I mean, came for you,
Right.
literally came for you, said, this is for you. What appealed to you about this movie?
Well, first of all, Lisa Joy, who's one of the creators of Westworld, which I was a fan of and I think is amazing. I already knew of her work, so I was already very, very intrigued. She's an incredibly original, smart voice in our business. And so when she came to me, she did tell me, she said, I wrote this 5 years ago. I wrote this before Westworld, but I knew I wouldn't get the money for it until I had a success behind me. But you were always the one in my mind. Now, whenever someone says that, I presume that Brad's turned it down, but that's fine. But actually, I do believe her. She did say it more than once, even after we'd finished the film. So, and it's incredibly humbling in a way to think that someone is thinking that they know your work or they think they know you. But for me, there was something so original about this story. It grabbed me in that. At the beginning of the story, I feel like I'm playing like a Bogart type of character in like a classic sort of film, and then all of a sudden it goes off, and I'm like, I have no idea where this is going. And that's such a rare thing when you watch a movie or when you read a script, you think, I have no idea where this is going. And I actually rang my agent 20 pages in, and I said, I'm doing this movie. I haven't even finished it yet, I'm doing it. Gut.
Well, you play such a broken man. Like in the beginning, you're kind of fooled by you, and then you watch as your character just kind of unravels. How do you get into that head?
It's the real me. No. I do a lot of work in creating the character. So the thing I ask myself is, if someone had to play me, or if I had to play you, what would I need to know to play Hoda? And as soon as you ask yourself that question, you think, well, there's a hell of a lot more someone would need to know than what I present. You need to know a lot of the stuff that I cover up, that I don't want you to see, the things I'm embarrassed by, all the background. So I do all that work. And I really try to give each character that respect, because for me, that's the fun. That's the creation. That's the digging, the archaeology of acting and getting into humanity. So I do all that work, particularly around he's a decorated war veteran. With obvious PTSD, so I did a lot of work on that and what that means and what the reality of that is, and there's a lot of research about it. And then try to imagine that character in this situation. Even though it's set in the future, it's very relevant to today.
Well, I saw the love story is very dark too, and twisted, and like you're always leaning in, what's happening, what's going on with those two, and it's electric. And I was looking back because I said, I wonder, it struck me just about your real life love. And I said, wow, look at Hugh, married 25 years.
Yeah, 25.
Like, is it like that?
No. We're not twisted and dark. You know Deb. Deb is the lightest, most optimistic person I've ever met in my life. Like, she, honestly, if you ever want to play the game, who's the happiest person in the room, Deb wins. Just know Deb wins. She literally, and I'm probably too much information, and she'll say, please don't, but anyway, this is Deb. When she goes to bed, she's like one of those dolls that when their eyes are open, as soon as they're horizontal, the eyes close, and then as soon as you tip them, she wakes up in the morning like this. She's like, hey, morning, hi, what are we doing today? Oh, it's going to be so great. I'm just like, whoa, back it up, slow it down, give me some coffee, give me a second. She's like, all right.
She's ready. She's ready to go.
She just makes the most of everything. Cut to Reminiscence, even though played by the incredible Rebecca Ferguson, who plays May, who I was with in The Greatest Showman and who I love. That's a love story that borders on obsession.
Yes.
When you fall so hard and fast in love with someone, and the question becomes, when you're in love with someone in those early throes of love, is it really the person you're seeing or what you want to see? And then in our story, that person disappears very quickly in the middle of that height of that romance. And then it becomes this obsession to find her and what's going on. And that leads me into the dark world. So yeah, that's very different with Deb. I
got chills. I don't know why.
Chills?
I don't know why. I got it. I'm not sure why.
Dark world?
I think it's that. Something about it just creeped me out a little bit.
Deb is, anyway.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, when you and Deb met, did you, was it was just,
I knew it before
it was
her.
instant. Yeah.
I knew
you
it before her.
Yeah.
She will often say, I had a New Year's resolution that year, I'm not going to date any more actors and none under 30. Meet my husband. Like, so I knew early on, and I don't know why, I'm very indecisive by nature. I am not the kind of person. I don't go to dinner with me. It's a nightmare. I don't know. What do you think? I like the chicken, but what do you think? This looks good. And Deb would be like, let's go. But with a few times in my life, Deb being one, I knew 100%. I just knew off the bat. Well, 2 weeks in. Off the bat would be a little crazy.
But 100% though, after a couple of weeks is amazing.
100%. Yeah. Deb actually tried to break up with me about 3 weeks into our relationship. This is the second time I'm sharing too much. Sorry, Deb. And it was obvious to me that she was getting ready. And normally, my playbook for that situation is, hey, I'm breaking up with you before you break up with me. I'm out, right?
Yeah.
And I just turned to her. We were driving back in the car, and I said, are you trying to work up the courage to break up with me? Are you trying to, in your head? And she goes, yes. I said, you just better get over it. It's not going to happen. I know it. And she went, okay. And that was it.
And 25
And as
years
those
later.
words came out of my mouth, I was like, who's that guy talking? That's not me. But it was just, people often say, oh my God, marriage is so much work. And I just, there are some things you've got to live by, but it hasn't felt like that.
I can
It's
tell.
been one of the best things.
By the way, eyes
by
are a
far.
giveaway in life, man. Eyes are a
really?
giveaway. Yeah. And whenever
Right.
you say it or just saying her name, like it's cool to see true love 25 years later.
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
In a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing. So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
Having sex.
I love this movie for a bunch of reasons, but it's also about memory.
Right.
And it's funny, as I was watching it too, I was actually thinking of a story you told a while ago. And it struck me, and I've retold it, and I've probably retold it wrong, and I've told it at speeches because I just loved it so much.
Right.
And it was the story of your first time at Carnegie Hall.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm getting chills again. But I think because it defined something, I'm not sure why that spoke to me so, but sometimes I'll say it in a speech or whatever because it moved me. For people who don't know it, I know it's this little short story, but will you tell that again for me?
Misting up a little bit?
Yeah.
I am too, I have to tell you. So, my dad never missed a day of work in his life. He worked for Price Waterhouse his whole life, literally one company. Never missed a day, except for 3. And that was when I was offered to sing at Carnegie Hall. He's so sweet. And it was a big moment for me, obviously. I'd never sung in America before at the time. And I rang my dad, who's always very supportive, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what. Hugh, when you played Van Helsing, that was just so, great work. Like, he had no interest in that movie at all. Yeah. So when I told him about Carnegie Hall, he was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be there. I'm totally coming. So he did. It was 3 days. It was a 24-hour flight from Sydney. He was there for 24 hours and then a 24-hour flight back, straight to the office. And I rang him and I said, Dad, it's black tie. As soon as you arrive, I'll be in touch with you and we'll arrange everything. So he arrived on the day of the performance. And so I found out while he was in the air that it wasn't black tie. And I was it was business casual or something. I was freaking out because I thought, well, maybe Dad is, like, maybe that's all he's brought. Like, maybe he's coming in plain gear and a black tie, right? So the moment he landed, I said, Dad, I'm so sorry, it's not black tie, it's business casual. And he goes, don't worry, Hugh, it's okay. It's fine, I've got all day, I'll sort it out. And then he said, do me a favor, if it's all right with you, I would really love to walk with you, pick you up at the hotel, and walk with you to the stage door at Carnegie Hall. I said, fine, meet me at 6 o'clock, we'll walk over together. So 6 o'clock on the dot, he's an accountant, very punctual. Knock on the door and I open it up and there is my father in full black tie, standing in the hallway. And I'm like, no, Dad, it's not black tie. I'm sorry, no. Like, no one's wearing black tie except for the choir, the conductor, that's it. Like, and he said, Hugh, my son is singing at Carnegie Hall, it's black tie for me. And so we walked over together and I'll never forget, he's a beautiful man. And I never forget seeing him because Carnegie Hall is quite lit up. And I'd sung my songs and I'm sitting down because it was like a concert and I could see him up there. Hoda, you've done it to me, now I'm getting emotional. He was just sitting up there crying. Yeah, it was a good moment. And then when the one-man show, I told that story and my dad came from Australia to see it and he was staying with me for a week. I told that story and I thought, I'm going to go out and my dad's here tonight. So I walk out and unbeknownst to me, Deb had told him that he said he's going to tell the story at Carnegie Hall, bring your black tie. So as I put the light on him, there he stood up in full black tie. It was like, I'm like, there's a bit of showbiz in my old man. Like,
look at that.
There goes the accountant.
How's he doing, by the way?
He's good.
He's okay?
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, he's doing good. And, and I luckily just had some time with him. And
thank God,
because the pandemic was hard, like not seeing my family for so long. And I'd been down there in Australia.
Yeah.
We arrived 4 days before the lockdown. And I was in Melbourne and we had to come straight back. So I hadn't seen my family for 2.5 years, which is way too long.
I know you've been practicing for the Music Man. We've seen you tap. I didn't know it was such a sweaty exercise. I didn't know why. You're drenched.
It is the greatest workout ever. And it's so much fun. It's like drumming just without the drums.
Yeah.
It's probably just as annoying for everybody else in the house, unfortunately. But I tell you, if you want to work out for your legs, it is the best. And your core.
That's the one.
But I've been practicing right throughout the pandemic, either in my home or as things lifted out with Warren, my choreographer, and Sarah. And I just thought, let's just keep going. I can't just not do anything for 1.5 years. And also, remember, we didn't know how long it was going to last. So I was meant to have started 1 year ago. Wow. And then we thought, it'll be September. I thought, we'll go. And then, it's going to be January. And then it just sort of extended. I thought, I'll just keep going.
So are you pumped for Broadway? Can you believe it's opening? Like, it's really happening. This is a real thing.
I just can't believe it's been closed this long.
Yeah.
That just keeps hitting me.
Yeah.
And I wish I'd been in the audience for some of these first. Like, some of these, it must have been incredible. And I can't believe it, but I'm so excited to be part of it. To be there as Broadway opens up again, and also to bring back a musical, which is the first musical I ever did, by the way, The Music Man.
Is that right?
High school. Yeah, I was in year 9, so what does that make me, 15? I was salesman number 2. Gutted I didn't get the lead part, so no, I'm kidding, no. I knew I was that whole opening and I loved that musical. So in my head, I was like, one day. So here it is. So to be coming back in The Music Man on Broadway, and I've been lucky. I've done London, West End. Obviously, I've done theatre in Australia. There's nothing like Broadway, particularly for a musical. That's the pinnacle.
Whenever I can see it, I'm going to come see you because I'm dying to see it with you. When I saw you tapping, because every kid who's ever taken tap for 5 seconds, which we all have, step,
Yeah.
shuffle, hop, step, step, you're like, oh my gosh, that's how it's done. I'm ready.
So how much tap did you do?
Not much, man. Not
Oh.
much. No.
I wish I'd known that earlier.
I've done
Where's my researcher?
I did tap in it was bad news, but
Really?
but there is a joy to it that I understood when I was watching you. I mean, when you're in love with it.
It's just fun.
Yeah, it's a blast. How are your backgammon skills, by the way? Are
So
you
good.
Still?
Got so much better.
Are you sure?
Oh. Are we laying down the gauntlet?
No.
Deb and I play 20 games a day. 20. That's the secret. And it gets heated. She is competitive.
She is?
Oh, yeah.
So how does
If you want to see a little bit of the darkness, you throw a double six to win it right at the last minute, and then you'll see a little bit of the dark edge of Deb. But my backgammon skills got very good, I think, over the pandemic. So, beware. I'll take it on. Bring it on. All comers.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day. Let's change the world. Love it!
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us?
Yes. There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
I have 2 children.
I know. And by the way, I wanted to say to you, I said it off air, but I wanted to say on air how happy Deb and I are for you and for Joel and just your family, because it's been so beautiful to watch and how you've shared that journey so far. It's beautiful. And I'm actually saying that on behalf of Australia and the world.
Well, I mean, I think...
And if you need a babysitter, my daughter says she's in.
She is. Well, it's so funny because I've made a couple of really great decisions in my life, and probably 3 real great ones. And they were picking Joel and adopting Healing and Hope.
Yeah. I'm gonna match you on that. Same. That's
3 best decisions in your life.
That's it.
And how are the kids? How is that?
I'm just going to
cannot.
cry through this
I
whole
don't know
interview. It's so amazing to me, the journey. So I have a 21-year-old now, and as of last Saturday, a 16-year-old, and I'm so proud of them how they handled the pandemic, because if I try to think what that would have been like for me at that age, where your parents, not only do they mean nothing, you want them so far away from you at that age as possible. And then all of a sudden, not only are you not seeing your friends, you're stuck with them indefinitely. It's like a horror movie. So, but regardless, with school and everything that went on, I was just so proud of them. And they are the greatest gift ever to come into my life. And it's just such a blessing, truly a blessing. So when I see you talking about it and when you shared with it, and literally Deb and I in the morning we were crying along with you.
Well, that means a lot. Well, I'm glad we have something cool like that in common.
Yeah.
Very cool.
With 3s.
Oh, yes. 3s. All right.
Not to be confused with the 3s.
Oh, what about that?
What about that?
What's going on with Wolverine?
Oh, I'm out.
You're out?
I'm out.
That's it?
Yeah, but it was one of the greatest working things of my life. But
I don't know. You know how everybody buzzes.
All right.
He's back. He's out. He's
You're
in.
late.
He's out.
Fine.
Okay.
We are cooking up some exciting things this week in the brand new Today All Day Kitchen. Up next on #Cooking, Samadada. We'll show you how to rescue any brown spotty bananas with 2 tasty treats, chocolate chip banana bread bars and a banana cream cheesecake that just happens to be dairy-free.
Welcome to #Cooking. The next time you see some nearly perished, super ripe bananas sitting on your counter, wondering what will become of their existence, like, will we get thrown away today? Don't toss them, please save them. Rescue the spotty bananas, #save the spotty bananas, and make these recipes. I'm gonna show you 2 of my favorite ways to use those super ripe bananas sitting on your counter. My chocolate chip banana bread bars and my banana cream cheesecake that happens to be dairy-free. Let's get #Cooking. Just for 1 second, okay, I want you to forget about those microwave packets of oatmeal. And we're gonna give oatmeal a glamorous moment with these chocolate chip banana bread bars. I've already preheated my oven to 375 degrees, and now all I'm going to do is prepare my pan. So what I've done here, greased it with some coconut oil so our parchment paper doesn't stick, right? So I've got that here. I'm just gonna stick it right into the pan. The coconut oil helps it stick, right? So this is nice. Make sure we're hitting all of the edges of the pan. And what's nice is that we're creating these flaps, okay? The flaps are really nice because when it's done baking, we'll be able to easily lift the batter out of the pan and have our bars all ready. What's great about using super ripe bananas in recipes is that they're naturally a lot sweeter and a lot easier to mash into different recipes. Got 2 here. We're rescuing them. We're giving them a second life, a second chance at life. They love us for this. Throwing the peels away. Gonna peel this one. Like so. Pop that in. See you later. Okay, and now we're just gonna mash. This is kind of where you can get your aggression of the day out into these bananas, okay? I wanna mash them until they're really nice and smooth. And like I said, because they're a bit riper, it's gonna be a lot softer and easier to mash. Not to mention it's gonna impart a lot of that really nice, sweet, ripe flavor of the bananas into this oatmeal bar recipe. And because they're super ripe, we're actually not gonna use a bunch of sugar to sweeten this recipe because it's gonna pull a lot of that natural sweetness from the bananas. Have I convinced you to not throw your bananas away yet? Just wondering. Okay. Really take your time here, like I am. Okay. I want no banana to feel unmashed. I want it to feel all loved and mashed, okay? All right. And you can use a potato masher here if you have that, if you like that utensil for your life. I'm just using a fork because you know what? Forks are accessible. Okay. So this is looking pretty good. I have to compliment myself on my mashing abilities. Looks pretty smooth. And now we're just gonna work on the rest of our ingredients. All right. So in this recipe, I'm using 2 eggs. So I'm gonna crack those both in here. I wanna be that type of person that does like the one-handed egg crack. I'm not that person. I'm safe. I take precautions. All right. Okay, now I'm gonna whisk the eggs and the bananas together. So everything is nice and smooth. Look at those amber yolks. It's pretty nice. Bananas and eggs whisked together. They look nice and smooth, really happy in there. Now I'm gonna add my nut butter. So I'm actually using peanut butter here, but if you have a cashew butter at home, if you have an almond butter, that's totally fine. You do you. Whatever nut butters you're harboring in your pantry. I know I have like a million because I have a problem, but you can use that. I'm gonna slide that straight in there. Now I'm gonna mix that in. All right, and then I'm gonna add my melted and cooled coconut oil, my vanilla extract, and if you haven't noticed already, the best part about this recipe, other than giving your sad bananas a second life, is the fact that we're making everything in one bowl. Like, you can thank me later. for the less dishes that you'll have to do in your life, okay? I'm just using a touch of coconut sugar. Gonna add that in there, and then some maple syrup. It's gonna really give this nice, warm, golden flavor to these oatmeal bars. Now that I've mixed all my wet ingredients together, I'm gonna grab my oatmeal, the star of the show. It's about to be super glamorous. Add it straight in here, along with some cinnamon. I love cinnamon, I think it's amazing, but you can totally use another spice if you want. You can use maybe a nutmeg if you like that better. I'll leave that choice up to you. And then some baking powder. And then, I'm gonna mix everything together. Make sure everyone just becomes friends in here. Make sure we grab the edges, the sides of the bowl, incorporate it really nicely. It smells so good. Just wait till it's done baking though. That's good stuff. Okay. Now finally, this is a bit of the dessert for breakfast moment that I like to really capture in all aspects of my life, the chocolate chips. Just gonna fold these in. I will add, I don't measure these with anything but my soul. That's just how I choose to live my life, but again, you live yours the way you wanna live yours. I'm gonna fold that in, and you're probably wondering, like, Sama, why do you have some of these left over? Because I wanna save some for the top. Because for me, it's not less is more. When it comes to chocolate, not a thing for me. Okay, folding this in nicely until all the chocolate chips are just really nestled in there. We want them to be cozy. Okay, perfect. Now, I love myself for being prepared. We've got our parchment lined pan, and I'm just gonna add it straight into there. So flip this up. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is my workout for the day, this movement right here. All right, so we're gonna add this straight in there. Get everything out. Scrape the sides. Oh my God, I cannot leave that chocolate chip behind. That would be so sad. Okay. And then I'm just gonna spread it out throughout the pan so it's nice and evenly distributed. Okay, because I am me, I'm gonna add some more chocolate chips on top, just for aesthetics. I like to take nice photos of my food. It's also really fun to make it presentable and looks pretty, too pretty to eat, but not really because we will be eating it. Okay? And then the last thing that I wanna do is add a banana on top. This is again, purely for me to have some nice aesthetics for my photographs. And that's fine. That's again, how I choose to live my life. So what I'm gonna do is just cut it right at the tip of the banana, slice it straight through, like this, okay? And now, I'm just gonna peel this off like I normally would. And then you've got two perfect halves of banana. Pretty easy. I'm gonna lift this straight out and I'm gonna place it on to my bars, like that. And then the other half. And then I'm gonna add one more for the middle. Go ahead. And again, I have a piece of oatmeal on my finger. Really didn't want to be baked. Okay. And go from the top. Slice it straight down the middle. Peel this guy off. Look at that. Add that straight in there. We're gonna nestle it down nicely. Wants to feel secure, wants to feel at home. And now I'm just gonna add a little dusting of cinnamon on top, partially because I love cinnamon and partially because I want it to look really nice. Okay, now we're gonna take a little journey in the oven for about 22 to 25 minutes. Let's go. All right, hope you enjoy your time in there.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day. Let's change the world. Love it!
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today, all day.
Every day.
Wherever you are, Today is there.
All right, we've let it cool for about 10 minutes, and now, see, this is why we love being prepared with the parchment paper. We get to just lift this straight out of the pan, and then there's no oatmeal bar that's been left behind, like that. Okay, so the best thing about these bars, other than the fact that we're saving so many bananas' lives, is that they're super portable. So I'm just gonna slice them into little bars. You can take them on the go. You can just also have a nice sit-down oatmeal moment at home. You choose whatever you'd like to do. I love the corner piece. I'm just one of those people. Don't know why. Just crispy and caramelized on the edges, it's so good. Look at that, delicious. And now remember these chocolate chips that I had saved for the top? See, this is why. I'm also gonna add just a little bit of powdered sugar, just to get that nice contrast. A little bit there. Just on the rest of my bars. It's really pretty. Oh, went a little heavy-handed over there. Okay, so now I'm gonna take a few pictures of it because I didn't put that powdered sugar, that banana, those chocolate chips on for nothing. All right. There we go. I'm really getting the shot. Little video. Get the inside. Okay, you know what? I think we got the shot. It's my time to taste. I'm pretty excited about this. This is so good. You know what's really nice about this as well? It's not too sweet. So it's really great if you'd like to even add a little drizzle of honey on top, maybe a little more peanut butter, almond butter, whatever you have to kind of create this nice sit-down oatmeal moment at home. It's like banana bread, but it's a little more textured from the oatmeal, and then you've got the chocolate chips that are totally giving it this like cookie dough vibe. I would eat cookie dough for breakfast, and I am kind of. Delish. You know, this has inspired me, and I have a lot more ripe bananas in my kitchen, so I think we might have to make my banana cream cheesecake. I'm gonna go grab the ingredients.
Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends of today in a whole new way.
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day. Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh, yes.
With Xfinity X5. Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices. Whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5.
Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
Okay, do you want to know something crazy about this cheesecake? You don't have to bake it. No ovens are involved. We're just gonna pop it into the freezer to make it, which kind of means it's a cross between an ice cream bar and a cheesecake. Two things I really can't live my life without. So let's make it. The first thing I'm gonna do is prepare my pan with some parchment paper. So what I'm gonna do is just line it straight into the pan, and I'm creating these flaps on the sides so that it's gonna be super easy to lift the cheesecake up after it's done freezing. Just like that. And now it's ready for our crust to find a home in it. So this crust is gonna be really nice and textured. It's gonna be a little crumbly, it's gonna be crispy. Because it's gonna have a really nice creamy filling to go on top of it, I wanted to create that contrast. Everything is gonna come together in this food processor. Starting with some raw almonds as the base. This is gonna give that really nice crispy, crunchy element to the crust. Gonna toss that in there. And now, to sweeten the crust up, we're gonna use some dates. I love dates, not the romantic kind, the medjool kind, okay? So we're gonna add these in. This gives a really nice caramel sweetness to the crust, and also it's gonna allow it to be a little bit sticky and pliable so we can actually just stick it straight into our pan. And now we're gonna add a little bit of creamy almond butter. That's straight inside. You can also use a peanut butter if that's what you have on hand, totally fine with me. I won't judge you. A bit of melted and cooled coconut oil going in there as well. A touch of vanilla extract. And then I like to use a little pinch of salt. This is gonna bring out that natural sweetness and create a bit of a contrast. Perfect. I'm just gonna scrape down the sides just to make sure nobody is caught, nobody is left behind, and process it again. We're looking good. We want it to be crumbly, but there's also gonna be some of those pieces that remain. Now it's time to just pack it into our pan. Okay. Oh no. This is precious crust, precious cargo. We can't waste any of it. Now all I'm gonna do is just press it into my pan. Like this. And you wanna make sure it's evenly distributed throughout the entire pan, and you can kind of see that it's sticking together as I tend to pack it. This is gonna serve as a really nice home for our creamy, luscious cheesecake filling. It's gonna be really happy sitting on top of here. We don't want the edges of this pan to feel unloved. We want the crust to be in there too, so make sure you get those corners as well. Okay. I think this looks pretty good if I ask myself. We're done packing the crust into the pan, and now I'm gonna go grab the ingredients for our filling.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day. Let's change the world. Love it!
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts. Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today, all day.
Every day.
Wherever you are, Today is there. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
The secret about this cheesecake filling is that it's actually made from cashews. They're super rich and buttery, so they're the perfect ingredient to make really creamy sauces and fillings like we're gonna do in this cheesecake. But to get it there, we need to first soak them. You always want to make sure you're starting with raw cashews. These are completely raw and unsalted. And you can either soak them overnight if you have patience and time, or you can do what I did, flash soak them for 1 hour in hot water until they're nice and soft. You are not going to believe how creamy this cheesecake filling is going to be. We're starting with our raw and soaked cashews, going straight into our blender. Right in there. We're following it up with some coconut milk. I'm using full-fat coconut milk here. We're not messing around with the low-fat kind. Perfect for a really rich and creamy cheesecake filling. And I think this is a really great time to mention that this is a non-dairy recipe. I don't know if you've noticed, but all of you non-dairy folks out there, rejoice because this is for you. Time for our banana, our star. We rescued it from its fate in the trash, perhaps. All right, pop that straight in there. Just breaking it up so it's a bit easier to blend. And now we're gonna go in with our maple syrup. The ripe banana is really nice because it's super sweet already, but the maple syrup is just gonna pull it all together. I really like using maple syrup here because it's a really nice, warm, and golden contrast to those rich and creamy cashews. In there, and then a little touch of vanilla extract. Perfect. All right, we're gonna add some melted and cooled coconut oil. Just a touch. Now we're gonna add some lemon juice. This is super important because you've got rich ingredients like the cashews and the full-fat coconut milk. So we want the lemon juice to give it that zing and really balance out those rich ingredients. I'm using this to catch the seeds. At home, you can even just put your fingers underneath the lemon and then catch the seeds in your hands. Little DIY. And then to balance everything out, balance that sweetness, bring it out a little bit, I'm gonna add a little pinch of salt. Okay, now it's time to blend. Okay. You just really cannot believe it. It's so smooth and so creamy. I want to show you a little peek. Look at that. I'm going to taste it a little and see if I think it needs anything. Taste a bit. I'm going to add a little more lemon juice and a little more salt. You can totally adjust this to your liking. I just like a little more zing. and that salt's gonna really bring out that sweetness. Okay, we're gonna blend again. Grab my fresh spoon and taste one more time. Perfect. All right, now it's time for this filling to find a home on top of our crust. And there's no dairy in this. Kind of crazy. I'm gonna grab my spatula. This is precious. I can't waste a bit. Now I'm just gonna make sure that's nice and smooth. You can even tap it a little bit to distribute it like this. Shake it around, make sure it hits all the edges. Now, I like to pretend I'm Picasso a little bit with the toppings. You can use whatever you'd like, but I'm gonna use some sliced almonds straight on top. Sprinkle them around. I'm gonna do a little bit of cinnamon. Okay, a little more. And finally, just a little pinch of flaky sea salt. Okay, don't be mad at me because now we have to wait a little bit. We're gonna put this in the freezer for 5 hours, but I promise you it is going to be worth it. Now I'm just gonna cover it with some plastic wrap so that it's protected and it goes into the freezer for its kind of long journey. And then it's ready. See, patience is so worth it. I'm so excited about this. Just gonna remove my plastic wrap. Look at that. We almost don't deserve it. All right, this is why the parchment paper flaps are the best. We just lift it straight out of the pan like this. And now all I'm gonna do is slice them into little cheesecake bars. What you can also do is slice them into fingers as well if you want more of a bite-sized snack. I'm gonna go ahead for the full picture, the full bar. Look at this. I just have to show you. Can you believe that there's no dairy in this? Looks so creamy. All right, that's for me. This is my slice. I am so excited to dig into this. All right, here I go. It's simply not even fair. It's so creamy. It's such a great way to use the nearly perished banana that's been sitting on your counter. Creamy, you would never have any idea there wasn't any dairy in this. You know what? I really wish I could eat all of these myself, and I probably would, but I'm gonna be a little nice. I'm gonna send a picture to some friends and see if they wanna have some. Yes, they usually do. No one really ever says no. I mean, why would you? Wouldn't make sense, it's so good. I think I'm gonna deliver some to their houses. I'm such a good friend. Ready? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go after you. Okay. Okay, Sue. Guess what I brought you? Your favorite banana cream cheesecake. I made it for your birthday.
Oh, this is my favorite. Thank you.
You're welcome. I did the same like date and almond crust that you like. It kind of does. Instead of smoothie on top of it.
2 Dadas eat.
2 Dadas eat. 2 Dada eats. Dada eats squared.
Dada eats.
Eh? Dada eats is.
We are back. I'm Anthony Contrino, and it is time to get saucy.
We've got a brand new kitchen and new episodes coming your way this summer. Tune in to Today All Day, Mondays at 11 a.m.
We're just so excited to get started here. Our next guest is an advocate, author, mother, and a former first daughter.
Chelsea Clinton is also now a podcast host. She talks with experts and takes a deep dive on public health issues for her podcast, In Fact with Chelsea Clinton. And Chelsea is here to talk to us all about it. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Morning, Dylan. Good morning, Chanel. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Absolutely. It feels like you wear a million hats or a bunch of hats at once, and now you're adding podcaster to the list. Tell us about it.
Well, I launched In Fact because, at least in my lifetime, we've never had so many people pay attention to public health because we've been living in a pandemic. And yet, I think that for so many people, there's this equation that public health equals COVID-19 or maybe equals infectious diseases. And I wanted to help broaden people's understanding of what public health is and why we should pay attention to public health even when we're not in a pandemic. So we talk about things like substance use disorders and addiction and the still terrible stigma around HIV status and how climate change is a public health issue and a lot of other things that I'm really excited to share with the audience.
In one episode, you refer to the phrase moral reframing, and you say it's so important to choose your words wisely with really how you explain something. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, thank you, Dylan. So, when I spoke with Frank Luntz, with whom I candidly never would have expected to be in a conversation with, and he's a Republican pollster, strategist who has worked tirelessly, and I say as a progressive Democrat, unfortunately, at times from my perspective on successfully electing Republicans up and down the ballot. But he really cares about ensuring that every American has all the information that we need to make the choice to get vaccinated. And so we were talking about how do we situate vaccines and vaccinations out of politics and into language and context that we all share. Like, we all want what's best for our kids. We all want what's best for our grandparents. And so framing questions and conversations around vaccinations instead of kind of all the science, although it's important if you want to know the science that you're able to access all that information too, but situate the conversations in, like, how important is it that you're able to protect your grandparents?
I know. I think you're right. It's the humanity of it. And we have to be careful not to lose that piece. And then so for people who don't want to wear their masks, for example, we'll think about the children who can't wear masks. Right. On that note, I know you talked about when you had your vaccination or you got your first shot, you shed a few tears. I think a lot of us did. What was that moment like for you?
It was really emotional. Gosh, like I'm welling up even thinking about it. I volunteered starting in January every Saturday at the Armory mass vaccination site up in Washington Heights, which was one of the most moving and profound experiences of my life. I think I was there, like 17 Saturdays in a row. With the just extraordinary team of vaccinators and volunteers from across the Columbia New York Presbyterian Hospital system and working with EMTs and nurses and nurse practitioners who'd come from all over the country to help us vaccinate New Yorkers. And so it was already such a moving experience. And then to be vaccinated by one of the people that I was working with and to know that kind of this was my journey back to a new normal was just so many emotions colliding in me. And I definitely cried. And the nurse was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm okay. I'm not in pain. I just am so grateful."
Just so grateful.
They were like, okay. Like, do you need a minute? And I was like, "No, I'll get up so you can, vaccinate the next patient."
Get to the next person.
I mean, so it wasn't just a few tears. It was like, a lot of tears.
Yeah, I think a lot of people felt that emotion. I want to switch gears and talk about your book series, your children's book series, She Persisted. And I love what you're doing. Every month this year, you're going to come out with a new book about an influential woman. So why was this so important for you to get that information out there for kids?
Well, when I was on the book tour for the first She Persisted picture book back in 2017, it was just so inspiring to meet so many young readers, girls and boys alike, who were hungry to learn more about these women. And so thankfully, I had the chance to turn the picture book series now into a chapter book series. Kind of this year, we have 13 coming out with the first 13 women in the She Persisted book. And thankfully, I can't say any more than this, but we have more chapter books in future years about other inspiring women. And so it just is really meaningful to me that kind of these women that have meant so much to me throughout my life now have kind of fully fleshed out chapter books written by an extraordinary group of women authors. And we've called ourselves the Persisterhood.
I love it. I love it. Well, speaking of children, really quickly, the pandemic allowed a lot of us to kind of push the pause button and spend time with each other. You have 3 little ones. Did Grandma and Grandpa, were you guys able to, kind of come together for a little bit?
Yes. So I'm so thankful to my parents. I mean, we potted with my parents, last summer, and my parents were huge helps with my kids. And it has been such a special experience to watch the intense bonding that's happened between all 3 of my kids. And
what do they call
my
them?
parents?
Grandma, Grammy?
Grandma and Pop Pop.
Grandma and Pop Pop.
That's my dad's a Pop Pop.
Yep. Pop Pop.
Yeah.
Former Pop Pop president. Chelsea, thank you.
Pop,
yeah, exactly.
Lots of peas.
Exactly. Chelsea, you're a delight. Thank you so much for being here.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh, yes. With Xfinity X5.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today, all day.
Every day. Wherever you are, Today is there. Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh, yes. With Xfinity X5.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Welcome to ABG, Asian Boss Girl, a podcast for the modern-day Asian American woman.
Helen Wu, Melody Chang, and Janet Wang are the voices behind the Asian Boss Girl podcast. But they've quickly become a voice for a community they felt was in need of one.
YouTube and Instagram propagated a lot of Asian American people, but most of those women were either professional influencers or they worked in fashion, and we didn't see other people who worked in corporate jobs, which that is like the vast majority of the Asian American population.
It started out as a hobby, born over a few glasses of wine and girl talk, until the 3 women left their respective careers in finance, tech, and media, making the podcast their priority.
It's fun to just sit around as girls and drink wine and say, let's do a podcast. But then it gets real, right?
Yeah. We had to learn how to edit, how to market a brand. And so I think slowly we started figuring out this is actually more work than we expected. Each of us individually were kind of going through personal career transitions. And then we just thought, we have this project we're working on that's generating income. What if we went in full time?
Did any of you have those uh-oh moments?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I think we were all very tactical about it. We built out spreadsheets. I built out spreadsheets. I'm the unofficial CFO of the company.
Yes, the pros and cons.
Yes, and of seeing what's our cash runway? How long can we do this for? And I think that's necessary for anyone who's trying to pursue their passion project. The leap of faith is scary.
But leap they did, turning their side hustle into a full-time gig without a safety net. And then a global pandemic hit.
I think it was really like a blessing in disguise in some ways. I think for anyone career transitioning, I think it can be scary. If the world was functioning as it was and I was going to happy hour with people, I would be much more inclined to compare myself or like question if we were progressing the right way. We were at home, it was easier to focus.
Around a kitchen table in downtown Los Angeles, they share uncensored and candid conversations from relationships.
You could call me naive, but I really wanted this one to work.
To social justice.
It makes no sense for a human being in America to feel scared to go on a jog or wear a hoodie or go bird watching or worry about getting shot in her own home by cops.
No topic off limits, but one of the most difficult and personal issues for the women has been the recent hate crimes against Asian Americans.
My grandpa would take walks in the afternoon after his dinner, and to think that maybe that could have happened to him really broke my heart.
It's hard whenever we talk about it, but what I'm seeing is that there is this wave of support, not just within our community, but outside of our community as well. We want to guide our listener through that process of grieving, working through the trauma, and then figuring out, well, what can we do about it? And that's something that we're trying to do by, if we're not prevalent in main media, we're gonna make our own way of media.
Making their own way as they break barriers and shatter stereotypes. Now their sights are set on even bigger things.
So are you all plotting the Asian boss girl empire?
We're trying.
We're gonna be the next, like, the Oprah for Asian people. We started as a podcast, and now we consider ourselves a multimedia company. I think we also want to continue building and fostering our community, a place for Asian women to feel like they can be supported and that they can support one another.
He's been making us laugh on Saturday nights for the past 2 years. SNL breakout sensation Bowen Yang.
And he's had some of the most iconic moments of this past season. The man got to twerk on Dua Lipa. Need I say more?
Okay, you should say more because he also played that iceberg that sunk the Titanic.
Okay, that was one of the most epic ones.
It really was. Now he's leading a star-studded cast in a scripted podcast called Hot White Heist. Hi, Bowen.
Hi, Jenna. Hi, Justin. How's it going?
How are you doing?
So
I'm
happy you're
starstruck.
here. I know. Justin loves you.
By the exposed bread.
Bowen, okay, when I was on maternity leave, you came here and filled Hoda in on everything she'd missed, which was basically everything. You made us laugh. And then the next week, you got this amazing gig on Saturday Night Live.
Crazy.
How has your life changed since the last time you were on the show?
I mean, not too much because I feel like I'm still going into 30 Rock and I still got Hoda and Jenna on the brain, and that was such a fun segment that we did. Like, what was it, 2 years ago now?
Yes.
That was so fun. Yeah.
Okay, and the Titanic.
Okay, we have to talk about the sketch where you played everyone's enemy, the iceberg that sunk the Titanic.
Yes.
How was that?
It was so fun. You know, I've always thought that that iceberg was very misunderstood, and that iceberg was the victim of a boat attack, and that the White Star Line has to atone for their crimes. No, it was so fun to. I mean, all I say now is that I can't believe that made it onto TV, because the week that led up to that, we were just like, me and the head writer Anna Dresden were just like, this will never ever make it onto TV, and somehow it did, and that white blazer is
iconic.
Studded for everyone to see.
It made it on TV, and then it trended everywhere. Like, everybody sent it to me, and have you seen this? It's hilarious. So you must have felt like, you know what? My writing has done something good.
Yeah.
Okay, this podcast sounds amazing, and also like something I've never heard before.
Jane Lynch.
Sure.
Cynthia Nixon.
Yes.
Alan Cumming. I mean, come on.
MJ Rodriguez, Cheyenne Jackson, Abby Jacobson, so many people. I mean, it's an all-queer cast, and it's like not like anything I've ever done before, where it was the team behind it was just so wonderful and great, and it felt like such just a lovely, lovely, liberated time. And it's so funny. It's out June 17th. Everyone should listen to it on Audible.
I mean, this heist sounds pretty crazy.
But by the way,
will you explain to people what's going on in this?
Yes.
And it's daytime TV.
Yeah, daytime TV.
It's daytime TV, of course. I'm aware. It is, I play Judy Fink, who is a grifter in New York City in some ways. He runs this scam out of Washington Square Park where he reads tarot cards for unsuspecting tourists, but his aunt recruits him for a heist to steal
Genetic material.
Yes, genetic material.
From our greatest, yes.
Yes, legal went ahead and approved that.
Oh yeah, I was on that call for sure. So the genetic material for some of history's greatest minds, and it's so funny, it's so fun, clever. I can't say enough good things about it, and I get to say these things because I didn't write it. I didn't have any involvement in it, and so I get to really, really gas it up.
Okay, can we play a little game with you?
Oh my God, I'm so excited to play this game.
Okay, and can we have the graphic, please?
Oh.
The more you bow.
The more you bow. This is a game that we're going to throw out some rapid fire questions about the entertainment world, and you're going to give us your take. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, pop culture moment of the year so far.
Oprah saying who is having that conversation.
Ooh. Okay.
To Meghan Markle.
Who's the celebrity that got you through the quarantine?
Oh, I think it's a tie between Megan Thee Stallion and Leslie Jordan.
Oh, you and I are best friends. Megan Thee Stallion.
Yes. Okay. The
more you bow.
Every time we're gonna get that.
Yes. I think we're doing it just for the graphic. Okay. Pop diva we should all be paying attention to.
Ooh, I would say Olivia Rodrigo, and Little Mix from the UK, and my niece Ellie. She is gonna be big. She's 3 years old, but she's gonna be big.
All right, Kris Jenner, just put your family up in there.
Let's go.
Uncle Jer.
Okay.
You bow.
Favorite award show moment of all time? It
Very,
better be
very
Britney
tough.
with the snake.
Oh, I think it's a three-way tie. Britney with the snake, Beyonce showing off the baby bump, and Adele Dazeem. Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem.
Can you
Adele
do,
Dazeem
I mean, honestly, you've got it. You know everything. Okay, finally, celebrity whose social media you cannot live without.
Okay, this is gonna have to be my SNL castmate, Michael Che. It's pure chaos.
It's amazing.
He's constantly deleting his posts, saying that he has announcing that he's a podcast when he doesn't, and he never will. I mean, it's all over the place.
You have
Che
the best
is chaos.
taste. You really do have the best taste.
The more you bow. Thank you so much.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition. Let's go. And good evening from New Orleans. There is breaking news. There you go.
The Meet the Press Chuck Todd Cast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are.
Exactly.
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
It's always really cool when a daughter follows in her mom's footsteps, and that's especially true if your mama happens to be the very talented Leah Thompson. Over her 35-year career, Leah has added actress, producer, and director to her resume, and now her daughter Zoe, she's getting in on the fun, baby.
The dynamic duo is starring in a new Audible podcast called A Total Switch Show. They play a mother-daughter duo who switch bodies. Think Freaky Friday, but probably for adults.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear about this one. Hi, Leah. Hi, Zoe. How are you guys?
So good. It's so nice to see you guys.
First of all, y'all are super cute. We can't stop looking at you, so we may not be listening half the time. I hope you're okay with that. But so, Zoe, this was your project, right?
So yeah, it was fun. Right at the beginning of the whole pandemic, when we thought maybe we'd never ever get to act again, we were like, what's gonna happen? What can we do? We can't do anything else. I got to develop this fun idea with some friends of mine at Team Coco and Gavin Polone, and we got to make this really darkly existential take on the well-known format. Follows a control freak mother and her disdainful daughter who waste no time completely ruining each other's lives and each other's bodies. So it's definitely not a sweet version of Freaky Friday. It's super funny. Characters are not based.
That was just our follow-up question. Are you sure there's not a little
of you?
My sister was one of the writers, so we would try to pick it. We were trying to figure out what she was pulling, and we were like, please say that this isn't. Please don't.
Not really us. This joke is really us.
Leah, you know, Zoe's been on the show before, and when we could have people in real life. And when she left, Hoda and I just marveled at how kind and lovely she was. And I feel like that in so many ways has to do with the way you raised her. What makes you most proud about your girls?
You know, it's their courage, because life is all about kind of getting up and marching forward when you have setbacks. And so Zoe has such great courage, and so does Maddie. And that's really impressive to me. And to be kind, I was always, if you're going to follow in my footsteps, you better be kind to the crew. You better be a good team player. That meant a lot to me. And every time I work, someone comes up to me and says, I worked with your kids and they are so amazing. They're so polite. They're so professional. And then my heart grows 3 sizes.
And Leah, this is a tough business. I mean, there are like a lot of dings. You have to have a thick skin. I mean, it must be from your seat when you're watching your daughter kind of venturing off down this path. You know what that feels like. How do you handle that?
It's really hard to have gone through so many ups and downs and then watch your kids go through the same thing. So sometimes that's really hard, but I just try to take a deep breath and say, they have their own path and they're handling things in ways I wouldn't, and teaching me along the way. That's an interesting thing about kids. They teach you things. So it's, life is, for any profession, it's all about ups and downs, right, honey?
She's probably just like, what is wrong with me that I wanted to do this job after growing up? I love it, but I mean, I was sure about how crazy it was. I knew going into it for sure.
Yeah, well, because their dad's a director as well, so that's a lot of ups and downs that they've seen from both sides. It's stereo ups and downs.
Zoe, I heard that family dinners were a must in your house, and that we weren't ordering pizza.
No.
Or if we were stopping at Domino's to pick it up.
Yeah, I feel so bad when I Postmates or Uber Eats something. I feel like I'm really doing something illegal because we never did that growing up, ever. It was always, which is awesome, and it's where my love of food and breaking bread together comes from, and that the experience of sharing a meal together is everything. But when I do order in, when I sneakily don't cook or whatever, I'm like, don't tell my mom. Don't tell my mom.
Okay,
well,
we're going to let you go, but quickly before, if you could switch bodies with anybody, who would it be?
My dog!
Gwen Stefani! Hey, boss!
You guys are great.
Thank you for having us on.
Oh, we think y'all are terrific. Please, please listen to it on Audible. And Leah, happy early birthday, girl. What are you doing to celebrate this milestone?
My children are throwing me a party, and even though I know about it, there's lots of surprises, apparently.
All right. Post a couple of pictures for us, Zoe, okay, so we can see. All right. Happy birthday early. Again, you can catch that podcast. It's available on Audible exclusively.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Good morning. Welcome to Today.
Start your day with us every morning. Get your daily dose of news on the go with the Today podcast. And stream Today anytime you want.
Today, all day.
Every day. Wherever you are, Today is there.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us?
Yes. There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
Having sex.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh yes. With Xfinity X5. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Barbara Corcoran was 23 when she quit her waitress job, borrowed $1,000, and started a tiny real estate company. Over the next 25 years, it grew into a $5 billion business.
Many of you guys know Barbara best as one of the sharks on ABC's Shark Tank, but lately she's been doling out her straight talk as the host of the very popular podcast Business Unusual with Barbara Corcoran, and she's even handed out free advice from a phone booth in New York's Union Square.
Okay, she liked it so much, she'll be heading back in to the Better Call Barbara phone booth to answer your questions right here. Hey, Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
Jen and Hoda, nice to see you both.
It's great to see you, hon. I think a lot of people do look at you, Barbara, and think, boy, I bet you she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She's got this huge business. And you don't really, people don't know about the struggle to get there. What was the toughest part of your climb?
I think when my boyfriend left me, who was my business partner, married my secretary, and as he went out the door, he said, "You'll never succeed without me." And he gave me an insurance for success. I thought I'd rather kill than let him see me not succeed. You know, I just got that fire in my belly, the power of an insult.
Oh my gosh. And is it true that you had 20 jobs before starting this company on your own?
Yes, we have to realize I'm one of 10 children, and we lived hand to mouth as a family. So we all worked from the time we were 11. You can accumulate a lot of jobs by the time you're 21 if you've been working from a very, very young age, of course.
When you say it was hand to mouth, what do you mean exactly?
So I'm probably using the wrong expression. We had clothes on our back. We had enough to eat. And my dad worked 2 jobs, and my mother killed herself for her 10 kids. So she always seemed to make it through, you know. But I grew up, thank God, with a burning desire to do something back for my family. And probably my happiest day of my whole life was when I had my first profit, and I bought my mom and dad each a new car.
Oh,
I never had a new car, and I had to deliver it to Florida with bows on the top.
How cool are you?
Awesome.
So, Barbara, you give great advice. We know people come to you all the time. So let's go to our Better Call Barbara, and let's put you in your cool phone booth, and we're going to answer questions just like you did in New York. And here's our first one, Barbara.
Okay.
It comes from Nini.
Barbara, this is Nini from Columbus, Ohio. It's time to update all 3 of our bathrooms in our home. Should we move ahead now or wait until building costs level out?
Well, bad news, Mimi. Building costs are not going to be coming back down. So if you're going to go ahead, you might as well go now before prices get more expensive. But a full bathroom remodel always gets you about 60% of your money back when it comes time to sell. So bear that in mind. But if you don't want to spend the money on new bathrooms now, the 3 best bangs for your buck are regrouting the tile, recaulking the tub, and buying a new sink. And that's what you should focus your money on.
That is such good advice. Okay, Kylie has a job hunting question. She's going to call in.
Barbara, my name is Kylie. I'm calling from Madison, Wisconsin, as I am currently hunting for a new job. How can I get in front of these desirable companies that I don't have an in at, let alone experience in those specific industries I'm interested in?
Kylie, first off, I have to say you have to pick up your energy and be wildly enthusiastic, or you're not going to get what you want. You should start by scanning every job board out there every day. There are 8 million jobs posted there, and they change by about 10% of them every single day. So you have to stay on it every day to see what's out there. Next, you have to make sure in your resume you use the key words that are in the actual job description, because the whole world runs with algorithms today, and your resume won't even be picked up if you don't mimic the words that are in the job description. Next, you don't want to use a generic subject line. I see these applications all the time. Regarding job application. Oh, really? It's better to ask a question. And I gave a guy an interview last week, and I didn't even have a job. But I love this guy. He wrote, "Hey, is it me you're looking for?" in the subject line. I love this guy. Okay. And last, try to get your resume in front of a real human being, a real live person at a company who can make an introduction for you. If you can land it, will give your chances of getting the job like 4 to 1.
Awesome. Barbara, thank you. You always give really good advice.
Yeah, we need more of it.
Yeah, you'll be in New York doing your thing at the phone booth, and the rest of us, we can find you on Business Unusual, wherever you get your podcast.
Hello and welcome to Consumer Confidential on Today All Day. I'm NBC News investigative and consumer correspondent Vicki Nguyen. Tune in each week for insider tips on the products and services that make an impact on your daily life. This week, avoid getting scammed. Whether you're looking for romance or trying to charge your phone, what to watch out for. And as more Americans return to work, what will companies do to keep their employees safe and healthy? Those stories and more coming up on Today All Day.
Your smartphone is constantly in action, even when you're not using it. The apps on your phone can access your number, email address, even your precise location, tracking information about you to build a profile. But what happens when that data goes beyond the apps you signed up for to third-party tracking companies?
Your phone is sending this extra data to these people that you don't know exist.
Patrick Jackson is the Chief Technology Officer for the phone security company Disconnect. He showed us all the data shared by the apps on my phone. Turns out the Nordstrom Rack app allows third-party firms to learn a lot about me.
Is your email Vicki.com?
Yeah,
You have AT&T?
I do.
And then you have an iPhone 8?
Yes, but I didn't enter any of that information anywhere.
I know.
And there's more. My gender, full name, products I viewed, and get this, my real-time location, all given to companies I've never heard of.
This is actually a location very close to where I live. So this was probably at some point when I'm going somewhere, not realizing I'm being tracked.
Not only do they want to suck up your information in the digital world, they're using that to track you in the physical world as well.
My DoorDash app gave out motion data about my phone, letting the trackers know if I was on the move. And Calm, a meditation app, sent my phone information to 5 different tracking companies. Disconnect developed an app, Privacy Pro, to block many of these trackers. DoorDash told NBC News it shares customer data to prevent fraud and improve service, adding it doesn't sell customer data and bans third parties from selling that data. Yet its privacy statement says DoorDash is not responsible for the privacy practices of those third parties. Calm and Nordstrom did not respond to our request for comment. Bennett Cyphers is a technology privacy expert with the nonprofit Electronic Frontier Foundation. The group lobbies for more regulations to protect your data.
Can consumers do anything to fight back against these trackers?
Yeah, so you can be vigilant in making sure that you know the apps that you're installing.
If they're collecting your phone numbers, could that be used for robocalls? If they're collecting your email, could that be used to be sending you spam?
Sure, yeah, it often is, because once that information is out there in this ecosystem, it's very lightly regulated, and the companies that collect it can do almost anything with it.
Cypher says the only way to control what happens with your information is to limit what you share.
Sometimes consumers think, it's too late. I've already put this information out there. What can I really do now? Why does it matter?
It's not too late because these companies that collect your information, they need more of it.
Well, just last week, DoorDash announced the data of nearly 5 million users, including delivery addresses, even partial credit card and bank information, was compromised by a third party. That is exactly what our experts are warning can happen.
Well, I mean, what can we do to protect our data? Right. It's like you kind of know this is happening, but when you really see the scope of it, it is irritating.
Yes, very much so. And you don't want to give up the fight because this is constantly happening in real time. So there are things you can do now. One, check your phone. Are there apps that you're not using anymore?
Yes.
Just get rid of them, delete them. That's so important. Also, create an alter ego, an alternate email and name that you use for apps like games. They don't need to know that you're Hoda Kotb. They just need an email
She's
address,
a big
right?
gamer, too.
Right.
Well, you know, yeah. I do
She's
Candy
Ida
Crush.
Kutby.
I do Candy Crush.
There you
Just do my
go.
initials.
Your alter ego.
With us, we sign up for this. We buy a phone for $1,000, and as we're setting it up, when all the little fine print comes, we go, I agree.
Accept.
And that allows all this third-party information to get.
Exactly.
This app that you mentioned, I just downloaded it. But
Good, it's tracking you now.
this disconnect thing?
Yeah.
But you have to pay for it every month.
Privacy Pro, no, there's a free version for iPhones. They're working to get onto the Android market, and it's really cool because you can see overnight how many app trackers that it has blocked for you, and then you can kind of get a sense of what's following you when and which apps you may not need anymore.
You know, a lot of apps ask you to use Facebook and Google to log in.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up, Al, because it's easy, right? Sign in with my Facebook, sign in with my Google ID. Take the extra step, sign in with that alter ego that you've created, because when you sign in with a Facebook account, then you're authorizing these apps to have all your pictures, all your likes, access to all these things. Yes, that's in that fine print for some of these third parties.
The fact that this is why I'm getting all the robocalls.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Go anywhere and you're likely to spot one of these charging stations offering a free and convenient way to top off your phone's battery while you're on the go. But you may want to think twice after a recent warning from the Los Angeles District Attorney.
A free charge could end up draining your bank account.
The scam is called juice jacking. Plug in to juice your phone, and a hacker could use that connection to jack your personal information. To show you how it works, we teamed up with cybersecurity expert Jim Stickley. He installed special hardware into this charging station. We then set it up at a popular tourist destination, the Port of San Diego, in the shadow of the famous USS Midway.
I'm gonna plug my phone into this charging station.
Across the park, Stickley is able to watch and record everything on my phone's screen in real time.
All right, I'm gonna call my husband, check on the kids.
And there's a phone number she's dialing in right now. So now we have that phone number.
I'm gonna check my reservation for the hotel that I'm staying in.
Right now it looks like she's staying at the Marriott in downtown San Diego.
Even when I go online to buy a toaster oven.
So here she is at Home Depot right now. And now we get the best part. She's actually entering in her credit card number.
And it wants my security code.
At this point, I could be her. I can use her credit card and purchase whatever I want.
But would people really plug into a random charging station like this? Watch. Seconds after Stickley sets down the stand, this guy strolls up and plugs in. That's when I make my move.
Hi there. My name's Vicky Nguyen. I'm with NBC News. We're actually doing a story about free charging stations like this. And if you don't mind, I'd like to show you how hackers are able to use these charging stations to actually get into your phone.
He agrees to let Stickley hack into his phone.
What we're looking at is everything that you're seeing there. So if you scroll, so basically we're now in your phone watching everything you do.
Had you ever heard of this being a possibility?
No, I never thought of it. No, I'm so used to seeing them. They're so common.
One after another, all day long, people plug in.
We're doing a story about these free public charging stations. We have the cybersecurity expert here who built this charging station.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Wow.
Do you charge in public often?
No, this is the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
Will you do it again?
No.
Can you believe that? Those are your personal messages on Facebook. What do you think?
Yeah. Kind of unsafe, really, right?
What do you think seeing your phone on his device?
That's not good.
You're already putting it away. Yeah. Talk to me about how people can protect themselves from this exact scenario.
These are public charging stations. So if you walk up and it's just sitting out here, you've got to use some common sense and go, okay, well, like this thing, it's not even mounted down. It's just literally sitting here. That's pretty suspicious. Also, if you plug it in, I don't know if you noticed, but when you plug your phone in, you'll see right at the top for just a second, it has a little tiny marker right there.
Yeah.
That's not something you've ever seen before.
No, I never saw that.
What that's telling you is something strange. In this case, it means that your screen was being duplicated and I was able to watch what was going on. Anything that's out of the norm, stop and unplug immediately.
With a steady stream of unwitting customers, our experiment showed if you build it, they will charge it.
Wow, thank you. I'm learning a lot.
Thank you for this wake-up call.
Okay, so here's another good tip. Just
plug in with one of these directly into a wall outlet. That really is the best way to charge your phone without putting your personal information at risk.
Or a portable battery.
Yeah, absolutely. We got one of these. These are so easy. They're, like $15 these days. You can buy them online. I mean, sometimes they give them away free at parties.
And why is this better to plug in? Or this better to plug in than this?
So this is typically how data is transferred. They actually even sell these little attachments that can block the USB data transfer, but will allow you to get the power. So you can carry that in your pocket.
But if you have it plugged to the outlet, you can't get to the data?
This is the thing. There's no information transmitted through one of these. This is just for power. So this is the safest way to do it.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show.